which indeed is true. Apple sent them an alert suggesting that their phones could be hacked through state. In fact, it could be attacked by state-sponsored hackers. Now, while the government reached out to Apple post the allegations, Apple has responded with a statement saying that some of these alerts could also be false alarms, and that at least over 170 countries, in fact, the IT minister right now clarifying that 170 countries such an alert has been sent out to Apple, raising alarm not just in India but across the world. Now, does this mean that these allegations here, or at least the alert of security threat isn't true? That's something that investigation will prove. But for now, you have the center coming forward to say that they are initiating a probe themselves. They will be expecting Apple also to join in and cooperate in the probe. Ashwini Vaishnav very clearly saying that we're expecting Apple to cooperate in this probe because this is going to be a high-level investigation and it's a matter of great concern. So government there really showing all a willingness to probe this matter as they slam the allegations leveled by the opposition parties. In fact, Ashwini Vaishnav also taking a jibe at the opposition netas, saying that many of them just want to wake up every morning and their job is to criticize the government. This could be one such rant. Ashwini Vaishnav, as he slams the opposition netas for maligning the government and the center over an alert that they've received from Apple. He says Apple itself claims that they have great security measures and their security system is foolproof. In that sense, and to that effect, it's surprising that the alert has come, and even if it has, then what does it really mean? This has gone out to 150 countries, not India alone, and the opposition netas are really making a mountain of a mole. This is what Ashwini Vaishnav more or less has stated, while also, of course, stressing on the fact that he is going to be initiating a probe and that all parties in this must be willing to cooperate. Paulmi joining us on the phone line. Paulmi, with reference to one case of Priyanka Gandhi claiming that her kids' phones were hacked, Ashwini Vaishnav raising that point, saying this is false and this was a lie. There was nothing like that. We investigated it and these allegations were false. So it's the second nature of the opposition netas to wake up every morning and criticize the government. We are working around this case. Investigation is on. We are hoping that even Apple cooperates with this high-level probe. So an announcement coming in on a high-level probe that will be carried out by the government now.
That's right. The Minister for Information and Technology, Ashwini Vaishnav, just addressed a press conference in Bhopal, and he has assured that an investigation has been ordered into these allegations that have been leveled, specifically with relation to the threat notifications that these members of the opposition have received on their phones overnight. He says that the government takes it very seriously and the government will be investigating it thoroughly. For that, they've also sought Apple's cooperation as well. But he, of course, said the fact that opposition members jumped in to somehow impute motive to the government, saying it was the government that was snooping on them, that the government was actually behind these state-sponsored attacks on their phones and their security and their private information, is completely baseless, that they should wait for an investigation to be conducted. And this is just their habit to, in fact, point fingers at the government, and they ideally should be waiting for any sort of information to come forth. Apple, in its statement, has clearly stated that it cannot attribute these threats to any specific state-sponsored attacker, so clearly stating that Apple has not said that it has, Apple has not specified any state attacker which is behind this. So how are these opposition members, saying that it is the government, and especially with these threat notifications that went out to users, in fact, across 150 countries, how can it be said that it was something specific to these Indian members of the opposition? It seems to have gone out to users who are in Uganda as well, for instance. Clearly, this is an issue which could be a malware issue as well, which is what sources have been pointing out as at the moment to us. But yes, the government has assured that there will be an investigation, because at the end of the day, it is about the security of individuals in high places, and they take it very seriously.
Right. And, we also heard Ashwini Vaishnav saying that this is not a simple investigation. It needs to be carried out in depth. And cyber cases generally, very more often than not, do not see a conclusion. But a case like this with Apple as a party to this, do you believe that there will be enough commitment here? At least Vaishnav says there is, but enough commitment to ensure that the results are out soon.
Well,
A report on this
actually Vaishnav himself, in fact, was asked that question as to whether there is a timeline as far as this investigation is concerned, and he assured that they will be, conducting this investigation as soon as possible because it relates to a technical matter. There's usually a trail. You can try and go back into it and immediately try and ascertain the cause of this threat notification as to what compelled Apple to issue this threat notification. Very significantly, Nabila, what you also pointed out was in June this year, in 2023, the Indian Computer Emergency Response Team, which is certain, the local agency which comes under the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, had in fact to deal with cybersecurity threats, issued a security warning for iPhone users in the country. This alert was regarding iPhone's vulnerabilities to hacking. The government agency at that point of time, in fact, has suggested that if the vulnerabilities are not mitigated, hackers may get full control of the users' devices. In that, it had also revealed that Apple's iOS and iPad OS are at risk due to improper state management in issues in web state and improper input validation in the kernel. So as per certain, hackers could exploit these vulnerabilities, run their own code on the targeted devices, potentially gain control of them as well. And due to the seriousness of these issues, the nodal agency had categorized its warning at that point of time, this is June 2023 itself, as having a high security level. So this is the nodal agency which comes under the Ministry of Information and Technology, which had warned iPhone users about this in June 2023.
All right. So iPhone service provider here stepping up its security measures, and as part of it, a mail has been sent out to many of these opposition netas suggesting that their phones are under threat. But to that effect, people of 150 countries have received a similar mail from Apple. Of course, while the government of India has reached out to Apple, Apple says that this also could be a false alarm, but we're not going to divulge any more details because we do not want to cause a security threat. All right, Vaishnav has, to that extent, also promised an investigation, a high-level investigation, hoping that even Apple will cooperate in this probe to ensure that, or at least to find out if these allegations made by the opposition netas of snooping on their phones are true or false. Slipping into a short break on that note, you could log on to indiatoday.in. You could also download our app for a lot more details, news and updates coming up next. Stay with us.
Weather forecast now. Delhi, maximum 33 and minimum 20 degrees. Mumbai, maximum 31 and minimum 26 degrees. Kolkata, maximum 32 and minimum 21 degrees. Bangalore, maximum 25 and minimum 19 degrees. Chennai, maximum 30 and minimum 26 degrees. Hyderabad, maximum 31 and minimum 20 degrees.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com. You are watching India Today.
Hello, a very good afternoon. You're watching India Today TV. I'm Sneha Mordani. Let's get started with the top stories in this edition first. The government categorically denies snooping charges by opposition MPs, says habitual critics are targeting the government, claims alerts in 150 countries, not just India. Union Minister Rajiv Chandrasekhar booked for alleged false and politically motivated remark on Kerala IED blast. BJP says false case against Rajiv Chandrasekhar. Our Minister Atishi slams the ED summons to Arvind Kejriwal, says BJP will get Arvind Kejriwal arrested after questioning. Cries vendetta, says fake charges on AAP leaders.
BJP is using ED and CBI to finish off anyone who opposes Bharatiya Janata Party, to finish off anyone whom Bharatiya Janata Party cannot defeat in elections.
India celebrates National Integration Day. Nation pays tribute to Sardar Patel. The Prime Minister attends the Unity Day parade in Gujarat's Kevadia. Israel expands ground operations on day 4. Firing escalates at Gaza border. Israel hostage soldier rescued from Hamas.
The big question continues to remain: what happens after 5, 6 days, 7 days, 2 weeks, a month? How long is it going to go on for? Because remember, the hostage crisis continues to fester and simmer. It has intensified, like we first reported here on India Today.
We have some news just coming in. Israel has expanded ground operations on day 4. Severe damage to Gaza is visible from the border. On camera, scenes of destruction in Gaza. Tanks and ground troops force their way in. Israel is pledging to finish off Hamas. Shivarur is in fact joining us live straight from the Gaza border. Shiv, talk to us about what do you really see around you. Just describe these pictures to us. Shiv.
Sneha, if you zoom the pictures that I've sent you, the visible damage is there on our screens. You can see that the northern end of Gaza, where most of the air operations and ground operations have been concentrated so far, is just one entire rubblescape. There's nothing but debris and broken buildings, as pretty much as far as the eye can see across that entire northern flank, which was only to be expected because in the 4 days that we've been reporting from this particular spot, from where Gaza is visible behind me, all you can really see is the rubble. plumes of smoke and the constant, sound of airstrikes as well as tank shells and artillery shells landing in that particular area. Now, the ground operations, which began 4 days ago, Sneha, haven't expanded dramatically as perhaps was expected. The same number of troops, as we understand it, are still operating inside, the same number of tanks as well. There is no indication yet about whether the numbers will actually increase, even though there are many lines of tanks and infantry that are waiting to go in because there is a siege, all around Gaza, especially from the northern end. I hope you can hear that. That's M109 artillery that's still being fired into the Gaza Strip. But at this point of time, while we track what's happening as far as the IDF is concerned, remember the hostage crisis continues. Yesterday, a bigger came on the hostage crisis after the rescue of an IDF corporal, a young IDF lady corporal who was rescued from northern Gaza, the circumstances of which will only be revealed at about 2 p.m. today when the IDF speaks to the press. But the claims of many Hamas leaders, including battalion commanders, those who were in charge of the aviation wing and drone being eliminated in airstrikes, is something that is coming in practically every day. Every single day there's an update from the IDF about at least 3 or 4 names from the Hamas hierarchy who are eliminated in airstrikes that are assisted. There's targeting assistance being provided by the Israeli special forces on the ground, who are also, remember, part of search and rescue for those hostages. So that's where things stand right now. It's an inch by inch, meter by meter kind of ground operation. The pictures that are coming in from Gaza also suggest the same. So not the kind of, blitzkrieg invasion that Israel has conducted in Gaza in the past on 2 occasions. This is a much more measured, much more deliberate kind of ground operation for 2 reasons. A, the hostages. B, the IDF definitely doesn't want, any more casualties than it can afford at this time.
Yes, Shiv also talked to us a little about how Hamas has retaliated, also given that you said that this is not like anything we've seen in the past. This is slow-paced in that sense.
That is correct. Even though it stands to reason that Hamas positions have been attacked and destroyed, by the sheer scale of airstrikes taking place over 22 days, there must have been damage to a lot of Hamas sites, including their, anti-tank missile positions, their rocket positions, the places where their staging areas are located, whether or not they're below hospitals or not. But with each passing day, the paradox, of course, is that the Hamas is also able to rearm, because even though the internet has been knocked out in the Gaza Strip behind me for the last 3 days, there's no doubt that the Hamas is able to work around such lockdowns and are able to keep in touch with their handlers in Iran and possibly acquire more capabilities. So that is the big fear. Anti-tank weapons are being used to a much larger extent than they were, obviously, in the first few days of this conflict, even though they were fired across the border at some IDF tank positions, which we had also reported. But with each passing day, there is a recognition that while the strength of the Hamas is undoubtedly being depleted after being hammered, relentlessly by the IDF, both from the air and from the ground, each passing day also gives the Hamas an opportunity, to play for time, to regroup, to rearm. They've started talking now about how only a ceasefire will affect, any release of hostages. But remember, that's what they've been saying actually from day one. So there's a great deal of skepticism clearly in the system about whether Hamas wants to play ball at all as far as the hostages are concerned, and that explains the ground operation continuing as it is right now.
Right, be with us, Shiv. Just coming back to you in a moment from now, is staying with Israel. The ongoing war between Israel and Hamas has entered day 25. In the major ground of operation in the Gaza Strip, essentially, Israel has said it has eliminated several Hamas leaders and also destroyed hundreds of military targets inside Gaza. Combined forces of the IDF attacked about 300 targets during the last day. Israel's military appears to be approaching Gaza city from at least 3 sides. Photographs, videos and satellite imagery show lines of armored vehicles advancing from Gaza's northern border and taking up positions near a major road farther south. Large groups of Israeli tanks and other armored vehicles are making their way deeper into Gaza as Israel's military continues to strike nearby buildings from the air. Shiv continues to be with us. Shiv, essentially, as far as this war is concerned, Israel seems to have encircled this entire region from three sides.
They have, from at least from the northeast, from the north and the east, of course, it's completely encircled. To the south is the Egypt border, but from those three sides, especially the flanking of the Gaza Strip is pretty much complete. The third side, of course, is from the sea. The Israeli Navy, using gunboats and naval special forces, has also encircled that part of Gaza. In fact, there have been attacks on port facilities and coastal infrastructure of the Hamas on Gaza's coast. So you're right, it is a three-way siege of Gaza at this point of time. One would imagine that there's no real escape for Hamas, but remember that tunnel network that we've been focusing on, Sneha, is not to be taken lightly at all. We've spoken to veterans who've operated and served inside the Gaza Strip, Israeli veterans who've served inside the Gaza Strip, who say that that network was something to reckon with even way back in 2009 and 2014. So you can only imagine the kind of sophistication that network of tunnels has acquired, now in 2023. This is a Hamas that knows its hunters. It knows, what the Israeli army is capable of. They're well aware of the threat from the air, from the ground, and from the sea, and they're well prepared for it. And that's one of the reasons why, even after 22 days of constant bombardment, we are still seeing anti-tank offensive attacks from the Hamas. Rockets are still being, launched from inside Hamas, which means that even with, a great deal of bombing, a great deal of ground attacks on these positions, they still have viable offensive capabilities. And that is a big worry, because it means that with each passing day, as the operation stretches on, they are liable to possibly acquire more weapons and recover some of those positions.
All right, Shiv, be with us. Just coming back to you in a moment from now. So we spoke about the three-pronged attack as far as Israel is concerned. And let's take a look at how it really looks like in terms of the direction and the manner in which Israel essentially has encircled the Gaza Strip, this entire region that you can see from northern Gaza, where large groups of armored vehicles continue to move in, like Shiv was telling us about. And the other portions, of course, are at the central region and then the southern region, where Israeli troops have encircled the entire Gaza Strip, even though the pace may not be as what one would have expected in terms of looking back at Israel's previous attacks. But this time around, it's fairly slow-paced, and Shiv was explaining us the reasons for it. But nevertheless, the tanks continue to roll in, and armored vehicles seen on a major road that you see, in fact, right now as far as this particular map is concerned. Just trying to give you a sense of how, in fact, the three-pronged attack of Israel looks like, if you just simply look at it in terms of how it looks like in graphics, is what we're trying to explain. Shiv, in fact, continues to be with us. Shiv, your report as to what you saw in Kibbutz Nir Oz, before you, in fact, tell us a little more about that, give us a sense of how things also look like as far as several other regions, especially these tiny kibbutz in many of these regions, are concerned.
There were about 20 kibbutzes on the Gaza front, that were attacked on the morning of October the 7th. We've visited 6 of them in the 11 days that we've been here, Sneha, and I can tell you that they're all completely empty. None of their residents live there anymore. The only people who are there are the IDF soldiers and officers who continue to guard those kibbutzes. I have a feeling that many of the residents who've fled north, those of them who survived, because many of these kibbutzes have seen large-scale, murder, and people have been taken hostages from these kibbutzes. So one wonders whether they will, even be in a mental state to return anytime soon. I visited a kibbutz called Nir Oz, which is about 2.5 kilometers from the Gaza front yesterday, Sneha, and that was a kibbutz that was particularly damaged on October the 7th, because it's pretty shocking what I learnt there, that of the 400 people who lived in that little kibbutz, about 100, a quarter of that population were either murdered or taken hostages, and also that about a third of all the hostages who are in the Gaza Strip behind me are from that one kibbutz alone. Here's the report that I filed from there. Just a couple of kilometers from the Gaza Strip, we're once again at another Israeli kibbutz. This one is called Nir Oz. But this is actually unlike any other kibbutz. And I'm going to show you a little bit about the damage that happened here, because we've been told it is particularly bad. And I've visited 4 of the 20-odd kibbutzes that were attacked by the Hamas on October the 7th. And I can tell you already, first impressions, this is particularly bad. You can see, the spray paint by the terrorists that they put on each door as they walked in. This is one of the houses of a tiny little kibbutz where 400 people lived. And the reason why it was particularly badly damaged is because about 100 of the people who lived in this little kibbutz were either murdered by the Hamas or were taken hostage. We're told by the IDF here that about a third of all hostages currently in Hamas captivity are from this kibbutz alone. That's about 70 to 80 of the total number of hostages are just from Nir Oz, this particular kibbutz where I'm standing right now. It's just ash and dust. There's nothing else here. Everything's been reduced completely to rubble and fire debris. These are the remnants of not just firearms, but a place that's been completely torched. Now, the Nir Oz kibbutz had about 400 people, very small, just a few houses, 400 people in all. Most of the people working and living in this kibbutz were farmers, agrarian, entrepreneurs. Many of them, we're told, grew avocados. Some of them worked in the nearby sealants and paint factory, not very far from here. Fire was the main weapon that was used here. We've seen some bullet holes in some of the walls, but it is very clear that in this particular kibbutz, arson was the main weapon wielded by the Hamas terrorists. They came in with lighter fuel, and they just set everything ablaze, which is why nearly all, 99% of the damage here you see is all fire damage. When they said fields of ash, this is what they meant. This is what they meant. This is the inside of somebody's house. Once again, you can't even make out what everything is right now. Now, residents of all of the kibbutzes that we've reported from over the last few days, none of them, obviously, understandably, justifiably remain over here. They've all left. Many of them are staying in hotels or with relatives in places like Tel Aviv or Jerusalem, very far from the Gaza Strip. And that's because their houses look like this. That's because their entire livelihoods have been destroyed in just a few hours of senseless carnage. Anything that they look at here will remind them of the life they built with their children, even as they grieve, because even children were slaughtered in this particular kibbutz. The ash is flying into my eyes, and I don't know when the smell of soot, the smell of decay, the smell of death will disappear from kibbutzes of this kind. But this is really what the reality of kibbutz is. The world sees a stream of images from kibbutzes of this kind. What happens to all of those people? What happens to the civilians who wanted nothing to do with war, who wanted nothing to do with anything but to have a really, really tranquil life, raising their kids, and hopefully a better future ahead of them. And all that's left is this. This is all that's left. Now, I remember just a couple of days ago that a Hamas terrorist leader was on a big screen in Kerala addressing a political gathering, and it's been defended by a certain section in the country. And I haven't said anything about it so far because, I'm far away in a conflict area. Tempers run high. People have strong views. And I saw a section of India's so-called liberal class making various comparisons of the Hamas and Israel with the British, and pretty much just normalizing a Hamas terrorist leader making a speech in Kerala, in a country like India. And not outright criticizing it, but, saying, ठीक है, Hamas का आदमी आया और speech दिया. And I remember feeling not rage, because rage is a weak word, especially when you're in a war zone and reporting from a place that looks like this. But I just remember thinking, these are people who've never seen conflict. These are people who've never probably gotten out of their living rooms, sitting at their keyboards, thinking that their political views on social media count for a lot and that they're so influential. These are people who care nothing for the dead. They believe that the Israel-Palestine conflict is just another, cynical battleground for their shallow biases and prejudices. But the pain and the suffering of the victims of Hamas terror is real. If you cannot condemn Hamas terror while supporting the Palestinian struggle, then you have no right to speak up. If you don't feel pain for the dead here at this kibbutz, Nir Oz, and all of the other kibbutzes that we've been reporting from, then you have no business to say anything about this conflict. If you believe Hamas and the Palestinian people are the same, it's time that you shut up and sat on your words. Because it is possible, it is absolutely possible, and I've demonstrated that with my reporting here, with all the analysis we've had here on India Today, and with the only channel reporting, remember, both from Israel as well as the Gaza Strip and the West Bank and all the Palestinian territories, that it is possible to condemn terror while also supporting a two-state solution, while also supporting a peaceful and sustainable future for both Israel and Palestine. There are haters, there are people so narrow, so completely far gone and soulless to believe that this has something to do with their narrow-mindedness. Ignore them, because Israel and Palestine both deserve better. At the kibbutz Nir Oz, 2.5 kilometers from the Gaza Strip, this is Shiv Arur for India Today.
More news coming in. IDF forces demolished the home of Hamas deputy leader Saleh al-Arari in the village of Aurora, north of Ramallah. 10 days ago, Israeli forces had seized the home, turning it into a local Shin Bet headquarters. Like many Hamas leaders, al-Arari is currently in exile. Days after being held captive by Hamas terrorists, 23-year-old German-Israeli Shani Lauk was found dead in Gaza. Remember, Shani was tortured, body paraded, and she was kidnapped from a music festival after the Hamas terrorists attacked Israel on the 7th of October. Here's a detailed report.
Face down on a pickup truck, her limbs broken and lying motionless as Hamas terrorists sat on her, spat on her, and paraded her around the streets of Gaza. 23-year-old Shani Lauk faced unspeakable brutalities on October 7th when Hamas terrorists abducted her. This is her dancing away at the Nova Music Festival without a care in the world. And moments later, this was her plight in the custody of these terrorists. Her mother hoped and prayed for some good news, after reports suggested that Shani wasn't dead and was being treated in a Gaza hospital.
Heute Morgen ist meine Tochter Shani Nikolog.
This morning, my daughter, who is a German citizen, was abducted with a tourist group in the south of Israel by Palestinian Hamas. We were sent a video in which I clearly recognized my daughter unconscious in a car with the Palestinians who drove along the Gaza Strip. I am asking for any news or help to please be sent to us. Thank you.
But now, in the most heartbreaking news, the Israeli foreign minister has confirmed that Shani is dead. With this picture of young Shani, the Israeli government confirmed that the German national was killed by Hamas terrorists, but there is no clarity yet on whether her body has been recovered. The news of Shani's killing has come as a death blow to the 200+ families who wait for any news about their loved ones who were abducted by Hamas terrorists. While Israel is doing everything it can to secure the release of the hostages, they have made it clear that it won't stall their ground invasion of Gaza. The tanks continue to roll through Gaza's streets, annihilating Hamas hideouts, but it's also led to questions on whether the hostages will be safe amidst such a siege.
Israel, of course, insists that they want to ensure Hamas is defeated, Hamas is decimated. This is a lot of pain when it comes to hostages. They're trying to negotiate their release, but they're unlikely to ease on the bombing just to secure the release of the hostages.
Thousands of men, women and children who have died in the October 7th carnage by Hamas, the news of Shani Lok's death has once again put the spotlight on the barbaric and truly mind-numbing atrocities committed by Hamas terrorists on innocent citizens. Bureau Report, India Today.
The report and much more growing up on our website as well. That's indiatoday.in. You can also download the India Today app, our entertainment show in the club on the other side of this break.
You are watching India Today.
Get ready for an immersive journey into the heart of news, politics and insights that matter. Join India Today now on WhatsApp with the #1 election team as we gear up for the upcoming assembly elections. Scan the QR code.
Join India Today now on WhatsApp. Follow these steps. Open WhatsApp on your phone. Check for a new updates tab. Select Find Channel and type India Today. After finding the channel, tap the Follow button.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
Hello, welcome. You're watching In the Club. I'm the Patel. I'm back with the best from the world of entertainment. Now, if you're a social media addict, you would know what I'm going to start my show with today. Yes, you're beautiful, so elegant, just like a wow. You all must have come across this new trend picking up also amongst our celebrities. Even in case you haven't, we've got your back. Take a look at how a lady selling ethnic wear has taken over the internet, with stars going gaga over her style and accent.
So beautiful.
Party rakhi hai, party.
New articles leke aayi hu aapke liye. So beautiful.
Social media trends are the new age entertainment for both fans and stars.
Looking like a wow.
Soon after one trend ends, another one goes viral.
So beautiful. So elegant, just looking like a wow.
Well, this time it is Indian content that has kept the internet buzzing. That's right.
So beautiful, so elegant, just looking like a wow.
This viral lady in the yellow suit has piqued everyone's interest with her tone and accent, and the way she was marketing the ethnic wear has given a kickstart to the just looking like a wow trend.
So elegant, just looking like a wow.
Now hopping onto the same are not just the influencers but even Deepika Padukone, who found it too tempting to not make a video on this viral trend.
So beautiful, so elegant, just looking like a wow. Just looking like a wow, so beautiful.
Even Malaika Arora couldn't hold herself back from being at the center of this trend.
So beautiful, so elegant, just looking like a wow. Just looking like a wow.
Yashraj Mukhate, who is known for twisting viral audios by remixing them, also made a rendition of Just Looking Like a Wow.
So beautiful, so elegant, just looking like a wow.
In this version of the viral video, Sania Malhotra, dressed in a black suit with a white collar, posted her clip as she matched steps with Yashraj's creation.
So elegant, just looking like a wow. So beautiful, so elegant, just looking like a wow.
Khufia fame, Vamika Gabi, also dressed in an ethnic peach color sari with statement jewelry, looked beautiful herself as she joined the viral trend.
Just looking like a wow. Just looking like a wow. So beautiful. So
Hina Khan shared her reel on the same from the cruise.
Just looking like a wow. So beautiful. So elegant. Just looking like a wow. Just looking like a wow.
While these ladies looked absolutely wow, even Indian cricketer KL Rahul hopped on to the trend as he took a moment to praise his wife Athiya Shetty as she looked so elegant, so beautiful, just looking like a wow. However, this isn't the only time a social media clip has reached the celebrities, forcing them to create reels on it. Case in point, Tuada Kutta Tommy. Deepika had made a video on this one as well, which was Yash Raj's rendition of Shehnaz Gill's popular dialogue from Big Boss 13 along with husband and actor Ranveer Singh.
क्या करूं मैं मर जाऊं? पानी पी. मेरी कोई फीलिंग नहीं है. हाँ ठीक है पानी पी. तुम्हारी फीलिंग तुम्हारी. ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਕੁੱਤਾ ਟੋਮੀ, ਸਾਡਾ ਕੁੱਤਾ ਕੁੱਤਾ. ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਕੁੱਤਾ ਟੋਮੀ, ਸਾਡਾ ਕੁੱਤਾ कुत्ता.
ये हमारी कार है और ये हमें और ये हमारी पार्टी हो रही है. पार्टी हो रही है. पार्टी हो रही है.
And even Pari Hori Hai was picked up by the actors including Shahid Kapoor.
हमारी कार है और ये हमें और ये हमारी पार्टी हो रही है.
Pakistani actress Mera Khan as well.
पार्टी हो रही है. और ये हमारी पार्टी ये हमारी कार है और ये हमें ये हमारी कार है. ये हमारी पार्टी हो रही है. और ये हमारी पार्टी हो रही है. हमारी पार्टी हो रही है.
In fact, this trend made its way into films as well.
पार्टी रखी है पार्टी. पार्टी हो रही है. चल चाय.
Entertainment Bureau, India Today.
So beautiful, so elegant, just looking like a wow. So beautiful, so elegant, just looking like a wow.
Now, Sonam Kapoor walked the ramp as a showstopper for Abhinav Mishra's Reflections Couture 2023. She turned up in a white signature mirror work anarkali and looked just like a wow. The actress after the show at a press conference told India Today whether white is the color of the season or not. Listen in as we bring you the highlights of who all opted for this trend recently, even for important occasions. In the realm of Indian fashion, Bollywood celebrities play a significant role in defining trends. Currently, if there's one trend that's having a major moment, it has to be white saris. From Kriti Sanan's graceful appearance at the National Film Awards in a resplendent Manish Malhotra white sari, punctuated with pastel accents, to Rani Mukherjee's raw mango pic to celebrate 25 years of the film Kuch Kuch Hota Hai. The allure of this classic comeback is undeniable. Deepika Padukone too effortlessly made a strong case for monochrome fashion in a stunning white sari at the Jawan press conference. The Sabyasachi sari boasted of contemporary twists with a sequined black border and was completed with backless halter neck blouse. Interestingly, the divas embraced the color white for celebratory occasions as well. Case in point, Alia Bhatt and Pariniti Chopra, who made strong bridal fashion statements as they sported a rather close shade to white ivory for their wedding looks. To much surprise, Alia repeated her ivory Sabyasachi wedding sari to receive the National Film Awards at the ceremony held in New Delhi on October 17th. Legendary actress Wahida Rehman, who too was conferred the Dada Saheb Phalke Award at the event, was seen exuding elegance in an ivory drape. Fashion designer JJ Valaya too had his views to share on the current trend of whites. Well, I've personally been very biased towards ivory as a color. It is a perennial favorite. It exudes class, it is elegant, and it is timeless. Though people might feel that it is a trend at the moment, it is something that has been around forever. One just sees a lot more of it today than we did before. Even Sonam Kapoor, who returned to the runway after 2019 and for the first time since the birth of her son, walked for Abhinav Mishra's showcase Reflection. The actress utterly reflected elegance, class and beauty in her classic Abhinav Mishra white mirror work anarkali suit. Interestingly, it was Sonam's pick when it came to the color of her ensemble.
me, it's just my first ceremony that I did at the wedding, even though everybody was like, Sonam, you're wearing white to the wedding, you're wearing ivory, and the whole wedding was all white.
The decor was ivory.
Yeah, everything was ivory, I decided, and I think after that it started picking up that trend. I just love ivory. I think it's pure and it's beautiful, and in Western weddings they use it a lot, and in Indian weddings obviously not at all. But I just thought it was a very, it's unusual for festive seasons, but I think it's stunning.
Notably, fashion designer Masaba Gupta, renowned for her bold and creative designs, unveiled a bridal collection featuring Kareena Kapoor Khan, also included a stunning ivory bridal lehenga. Bebo looked free, playful as she channeled her inner bride in ivory. That's not all. Whites and the ivories also took over the ramp during the recently concluded Lakme Fashion Week, hosted in collaboration with the FDCI. From Disha Patni to Sanjana Sanghi, the divas dazzled in white lehengas. Diya Mirza too closed the show for designer duo Pankaj and Nidhi in a white ensemble. Jim Seb's ramp moment was painted in white as well. Perhaps these celebrities and their designers are surely making us want to say white is the new black. With inputs from Medha Chawla and Dipali Patel, Entertainment Bureau, India Today. Talking about taking over the internet, Ananya Pandey is painting the town red with her mushy pictures and videos from her birthday trip to Maldives, where she apparently was with her rumoured boyfriend and actor Aditya Roy Kapoor. If you haven't seen them yet, you're at the right place. Take a look. Love is in the air for Ananya Pandey and Aditya Roy Kapoor. Yes, the two actors have fueled romance rumours even more after they were seen vacationing together in Spain. And even this video from Ananya's birthday trip to Maldives is a proof of their brewing romance. Hand in hand, head on shoulders, love has to feel like home, and looks like Ananya has found hers. That's not all. She rang in her 25th birthday. She even shared a series of pictures and videos from her day and captioned it as 25, filled with so much gratitude and food and sunshine. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all the love and good vibes. Also, I saw 3 rainbows the day before my birthday, and I feel like it's a sign. Was more strong than the others. Moreover, fans have speculated that the duo has taken the next step after Vidya Balan and Ananya Pandey were seen greeting each other and posing together for the cameras. Again, hinting that the Roy Kapoors approve of Ananya and Aditya's bond. Prior to this, they even dropped a hint of their getaway as they attended a concert together and posted it on their social media accounts. Now, what is interesting is the fact that both Ananya and Aditya have come a long way. From rumoured couple to showstoppers, Ananya Pandey and Aditya Roy Kapoor gave a hint of their mushy romance as they walked the ramp together for designer Manish Malhotra during the finale of Lakme Fashion Week. Aditya donned a black suit with a hint of glitter, while Ananya looked stunning in her black thigh-high slit gown and a matching shrug. In their matching black outfits, holding hands, looking at each other into their eyes, that smile, that glow when you see your loved one. Ananya and Aditya's expressions said it all. They even paused for a moment and shared a quick conversation on the ramp. Did they confirm their romance in public? Maybe, maybe not. But fans liked how they complimented each other. Keeping the love quotient high, Ananya Pandey and Aditya Roy Kapoor have been sparking romance rumours from quite some time now. From being spotted at parties together to cheering for their favourite team at the FIFA World Cup 2022. The duo has been leaving subtle hints for fans. Earlier in October 2022, Kriti Sanon hosted a Diwali party where the who's who of Bollywood marked their presence. Aditya and Ananya were also a part of the bash. In fact, a picture of them sharing a conversation had leaked, and since then, their dating rumors spread on the internet like wildfire. The very next day, at Manish Malhotra's Diwali party, the duo even twinned in their all-black attires as they posed together for the paparazzi. But their whirlwind romance began at Karan Johar's 50th birthday bash, which was later confirmed by the Dharma head honcho himself during his chat show Coffee with Karan.
What's brewing between you and Aditya Roy Kapoor? Oh. I saw at my party that
No, you didn't see anything.
And with these outings and vacations, rumor mills are buzzing louder than ever. Meanwhile, on work front, Ananya Pandey has a handful of projects, including a crime thriller with Vikramaditya Motwani. She also
रावण की लंका जलाने के लिए आग तो लगानी पड़ेगी, पर कहीं उस आग में
Aditya, on the other hand, has become quite the sensation ever since his web series The Night Manager aired, leaving fans asking for more.
सबसे खतरनाक लोगों में से एक है।
वो मुझे उसके करीब क्यों आने देगा?
उसे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता तुम कहां से आ रहे हो, तुम कहां जा रहे हो, वो मैटर करता है।
Even the second season did not disappoint.
My name is Shansan Gupta. I'm the night manager.
तुम्हें बस शैली का भरोसा जीतना है।
चोरी कर चुके हो, पुलिस वालों पर अटैक कर चुके हो, इंटरनेशनल लुकआउट नोटिस भी है। नाइस। मिस्टर नाइट मैनेजर को होस्ट करने की हमारी बारी। Welcome to the family.
Directed by Priyanka Ghosh, the adapted series also features Anil Kapoor, Sovita Dhulipala, and Tilottama Shom in key roles.
जिंदा तो मैं पहले भी नहीं था, अब क्या जान की फिक्र करूं?
As far as his upcoming projects are concerned, he has Anurag Basu's Metro in Dino in the pipeline. Entertainment Bureau, India Today. It's time for a quick commercial break now, but there's lots more coming up on the other side, so stay tuned in the club and India Today.
High-frequency electromagnetic fields will interfere with the functioning of your heart. Simply put, it's your mobile phone which is interfering with the functioning of your heart, especially when you put it in the left pocket of your shirt and think it's going to do nothing. It's a myth. It will cause you problems. Take a look at this report.
Electronic gadgets make life very convenient and bring the world to our fingertips, with meals, clothes and vacations just a thought away. But did you know that at the same time, your device is secretly stealing from you the very life that it's making oh so easy? Yes, you heard that right. Your mobile phone may actually increase your susceptibility to cardiovascular diseases. High-frequency electromagnetic fields increase the risk of heart disease. These invisible waves impact your heart rate when you keep your mobile near your chest. The radiation from mobile phones increases free radicals, a reactive oxygen species which damage cells and also your DNA. It's been found that mobile phones, earpods and smartwatches are also the leading cause of headaches, numbness in thighs, dizziness and heaviness in the chest. We hope that the penny has dropped and not your phone. With Dhruv Yadav, Bureau Report for India Today.
My colleague Tushar Joshi caught up with Sushmita Sen in Mumbai. She spoke at length about her show Arya Season 3. Listen in.
Guys, welcome to India Today. There is this phrase called third time's a charm, or third time's a lucky charm, and I think that holds so true for Arya Season 3. I watched the trailer. I can't stop watching it for the simple reason that you just can't watch it once. There are so many nuances. There are so many moments in the trailer. And like I was telling Sushmita, that roar in the end, the crescendo that it hits, that high, it's outstanding. I have to say that just like the show, all of you have broken stereotypes in your life. The fact that beauty pageant winners can't act, you need to have a mentor to launch your big production house. The fact that you need to have a certain tone or a baritone to your voice, or else you can't sing, and you can't sing and be an actor, you have to just be either. The fact that you need to wear a policeman's uniform to then play somebody who's a cop, you don't have to just do it because you're talented. And the fact that you have to be confined to a certain box or a screen or a small medium, all of you on the stage have broken stereotypes, and so has the show. I want to speak to you a bit about the fact that how has this show helped you or given you? What has it given you? Sushmita, I want to speak to you because I'm guessing you've given so much to the show and the show has given so much to you. But what does it mean to you when I speak about Arya?
Arya to me is a resurrection. It brought me back. It gave me everything that I thought you can only sit and manifest over a lifetime. A fantastic filmmaker, a fabulous crew, a cast that makes you pull up your socks and do your job better every step of the way. An author-backed role that allows me to play one of the most epic characters, even though we are an adaptation of a Dutch show called Pinoza. The fact is, the character itself is channeling a female version of Michael Corleone. So where do you get that? And where do you get that this side of 40? The world is changing. Indian viewership is changing. OTT has brought actors to the forefront where age is just not the problem. The content is. So if you fit the bill, everyone gets a shot. I mean, where do you get that? In the 90s, I sure didn't. So it's a wonderful time to be an actor, and I thank Arya for this resurrection.
And the lady sitting next to you, I mean, can we just speak about her aura? Just the fact that every time she enters a room, there are faces that light up. There are people who just get excited by your sheer presence. I mean, I could go on and on. मुझे आपसे पूछना है कि आपने आर्या के बारे में कभी सुना पहले? When was the first time? Was it like, अरे आपने देखा ये show? Have you seen it? WhatsApp groups पे chats होते थे. You have to watch Arya. It has to be a show that you need to watch.
नहीं, जब मैंने सुना कि सुष्मिता आर्या कर रही हैं, उसी दिन से मैंने सोच लिया था कि मुझे देखना है, और राम इसको डायरेक्ट कर रहे थे, और वो बिल्कुल मेरे लिए नई चीज़ थी, नई विधा थी, और इतनी पावर पैक्ड परफॉर्मेंसेस एंड कंटेंट. तो मैं तो ये सोच रही थी कि ये कमाल का इन लोगों ने किया है. आगे क्या होगा मैं इसमें मैं होंगी, ये मैंने नहीं सोचा था.
I want to speak to you about the fact that I said that you are not wearing a cop uniform, but you're yet so much in character. We are so following your journey. Have there been instances where people in your family or friends have come to you and given you feedback? अरे इसका track ऐसे होना चाहिए. Take this character somewhere, because everybody has some ज्ञान to give and say कि नहीं इस story को ऐसे भी ले जाओ. आप तो makers के साथ काम करते हो, अब feedback दे दो उनको.
तो एक दो लोग हैं, मतलब people are too used to the dabang kind of cop, stud. Dogs लगा के घूम रहा है, sleeves folded हैं.
Actually, I'd like to see you once like that, just once.
तो जब ट्रेलर देखा था या सीजन 1 देखा, तो एक दो लोग हैं जिनसे मुझे उम्मीद नहीं थी कि इनका फीडबैक ऐसा आएगा. उन्होंने कहा, यार तुम तो मतलब बड़ा ही साधारण से, तुम तो ऐसे लगते हो कि बड़े अच्छे पढ़ने लिखने वाले आदमी हो, चश्मा लगा के घूम रहे हो, IAS ऑफिसर ज़्यादा लगते हो, पुलिस वाले कम लगते हो. मैंने बोला हाँ, लेकिन यही कोशिश थी हमारी कि उसको जितना ह्यूमन रखें और जितना नॉर्मल रखें.
Indranil, I'm guessing every actor or an actress has a checklist at the back of their mind. All of us still have that checklist. Where did this fall into that checklist? Did you have one? Because you sort of dabbled into every genre, every medium, like I said at the beginning. Didn't conform to a certain box, right? Work came, you took it up, and you had fun. You proved your mettle. Where does Arya fall in that checklist?
Arya would rank quite high on the checklist. It has not been intentional, but once it has happened, then I realized that it should rank somewhere there. And there is one special thing about Arya. I need to tell you that it's not about the role, it's not about what I have done. It's about the process of preparing for the role. So I am a person who's very averse to workshops. I don't like doing workshops. I really dread workshops, and I don't like rehearsing too much. I like to just go there and let's see what comes out, kind of an actor. So when Ram Madhvani made me do workshops, and initially I was very averse to it. I didn't like the process. I was like, no, I don't want to do it. And like, but he's calling me, I have to go, so I'll go there. But I was not ready for it at all. So I feel that mental block has gone while preparing for Arya, and I also realized that it can help at times. Initially, I used to think that if I do it, if I overcook it, then it becomes very mechanical. I'll try to incorporate every ingredient that has been taught to me, and then it'll be like very plastic. But no, it's not like that. But one funny thing happened. The day I finished my shoot, when I come back to the van and I see there's a gift, and I open the package and there is a book, The Method. Right?
Yeah.
And I was like, why is he giving me this book? I thought that, have I done it so bad that he feels that you better go through this book? Then I asked someone, I said, yaar, kyun diya mujhe book? Matlab, have I been so pathetic? They said, no, it's one of his favorite books. He gives it to all of his actors. I said, acha, to phir theek hai.
And all of his actors feel equally bad while receiving it.
इला जी, मैं आपसे भी ये जानना चाहता हूँ कि ये 90s के दौरान जब ऐसे मैगजीन्स के ऊपर कैट फाइट की स्टोरीज आती थी कि दो विमेन, there are two heroines in a film, they will never get along. And now we get to see you guys in like characters written. The writers have had so much fun writing and fleshing you out. But coming back, Sushmita, if you could speak a bit about that, like how that stereotype has been so almost shattered, right, with Ilaji coming on.
With everyone. I think that the thing about not just Ma Ilaji, but like everyone, is that you've come to an understanding that this is a collaborative effect. What you're seeing as a success of Arya has got nothing to do with one hero and an A-grade heroine and some character actors. It's not how it is built. The structure is everyone has a place and everyone is making sure that the show has a story that... And you'll be amazed. The show is called Arya. I play Arya. But there are lots of people who are following different characters because they like them. They connect with them more. Which is fantastic, because that's how you build a show that lasts you 3 seasons at least. It might just go more, inshallah, but at least this, because it has fleshed out characters. And those that have died, the characters that have not lived on the show, they still call us saying any flashback sequences, anything we can come back for, because it's such a beautiful journey.
And Ilaji, if you could give us a dialogue just from Arya, just a slice of it.
मुझे गार्डनिंग का शौक है. बॉन्साई मैं बहुत इकट्ठे करती हूँ. तो इनको जब मैं धमकी दे रही हूँ तो अचानक मैंने कहा कि मैंने बड़े-बड़े डॉन को बॉन्साई बना दिया है. ये डायलॉग हमारे डायरेक्टर को बहुत पसंद है.
Yeah, you've given us a fleeting glimpse of what to expect. And I think on that note, all I can say is that Roar in the end has got all of us on the edge. The trailer looks fantastic. Can't wait to watch it, because like I said, every character we are so invested in. Congratulations. All the very best for Arya 3.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Well, that's all we could pack in our show today, but keep watching Entertainment Show in the Club from Monday to Friday at 2:30 p.m. and 11:30 p.m. only on India Today to get your daily dose of entertainment. This is me, Dipali Patel, signing off. Till next time, thanks for watching and goodbye.
Weather forecast now. Delhi, maximum 33 and minimum 20 degrees. Mumbai, maximum 31 and minimum 26 degrees. Kolkata, maximum 32 and minimum 21 degrees. Bangalore, maximum 25 and minimum 19 degrees. Chennai, maximum 30 and minimum 26 degrees. Hyderabad, maximum 31 and minimum 20 degrees.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com. You are watching India Today.
Hello, very good evening. You're watching India Today TV. I'm Sneha Mordani. Let's get started with the top stories in this edition first. Government categorically denies snooping charges by opposition MP, says habitual critics targeting government claims alerts in 150 countries, not just India.
This is a vague advisory. It is based on certain estimations that they have done. Apple has already clarified that their encryption system is of highest possible order.
Union Minister Rajiv Chandrasekhar booked for alleged false and politically motivated remark on Kerala IED blast. BJP says false case against Rajiv Chandrasekhar. Aam Aadmi Party Minister Atish Islam's ED summons to Arvind Kejriwal, says BJP will get Arvind Kejriwal arrested after questioning tries vendetta, says fake charges on AAP leaders.
BJP is using ED and CBI to finish off anyone who opposes Bharatiya Janata Party, to finish off anyone whom Bharatiya Janata Party cannot defeat in elections.
India celebrates National Integration Day. Nation pays tribute to Sardar Patel. The Prime Minister attends the Unity Day parade in Gujarat's Kevadia. Israel expands ground operations on day 4. Firing escalates at Gaza border. Israel hostage soldier has now been rescued from the Hamas.
The big question continues to remain: what happens after 5, 6 days, 7 days, 2 weeks, a month? How long is it going to go on for? Because remember, the hostage crisis continues to fester and simmer. It has intensified, like we first reported here on India Today.
Gate against several opposition leaders continues, discarding the allegations levelled against the government. Union IT Minister Ashwini Vaishnav has said a similar notification has also been sent in 150 different countries. Claiming that Apple has encrypted and secure system, Ashwini Vaishnav has lashed out at those who desperately find a reason, he says, to criticize the government. He further suggested that the opposition leaders must file FIR and take up the issue with Apple. The development comes after several opposition leaders, including TMC MP Mahua Moitra, Shiv Sena UBD leader Priyanka Chaturvedi and Congress leaders Pawan Kheda, Shashi Tharoor had said they had received messages from Apple on their phones and emails warning that the state-sponsored attackers may be targeting their iPhone. Following the claim, Congress leader Rahul Gandhi slammed the centre and said that he was ready to submit his phone for investigation. Meanwhile, Apple too has issued a clarification saying that some alerts might be false, adding that they can't provide any specific reason for alerts.
There are many compulsive critics in our country. Their only job is to criticize the government as and when they wake up, as and when they find an opportunity. You must have all seen the advisory issued by Apple. This is a vague advisory. It is based on certain estimations that they have done. Apple has already clarified that their system is, their encryption system is of highest possible order. They've also clarified and issued a statement saying that this kind of advisory has been issued in 150 countries. Friends, these compulsive critics, they have only one habit. Whenever they don't have any major issue, the only thing they'll say is surveillance.
तो ये आपको झूठे भविष्य का वायदा करते हैं और जो आपका धन है आपके आंखों के सामने आपसे छीन के ले जा रहे हैं. यह हिंदुस्तान की आज सच्चाई है. कम लोग हैं जो इसके खिलाफ लड़ रहे हैं, मगर हम डरने वाले नहीं हैं. हम लड़ने वाले लोग हैं. हम पीछे नहीं हटेंगे. जितनी टैपिंग करनी है कर लो, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. मुझे तो कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. अगर आपको मेरा फोन चाहिए मैं दे देता हूं, आपको उठा के ले लो.
एप्पल को प्रोटेस्ट क्यों नहीं करते? एप्पल से बात करें, व्हाट इज दिस मैटर. लेकिन जहां तक मैं अपने अनुभव से कह सकता हूं, कोई भी टेलीफोन कंपनी ऐसा नहीं कहती है. बात समझ गए आप? अगर ऐसा कुछ होता है तो सबसे पहले वो खुद सर्टिन के पास आती है, जो क्विक रिस्पांस टीम है. वहां वो बताती है कि ये कुछ है, इसको देखिए, और उसके बाद होता है. तो यहां तो कमाल है, उन्हीं को मिला और प्रेस में गए. हिम्मत है तो चले जाए, एफआईआर कर दें.
I have been holding the government to account. I'm asking some questions from my government with regards to the Adani corruption or with regards to the Pegasus issue or various other issues that impact the daily lives of our citizens. And it is a well-known fact, it's a well-recorded fact, and it went up to the Supreme Court, the issue of Pegasus, how journalists were being targeted, and it has been, part of investigative stories. This is happening. So it is for them to tell me whether, they will allow me to discharge my duties as a parliamentarian, as a member of the opposition, or they would want to silence every single voice which speaks up against the government. So this is for them, but it is pretty clear that as a vocal opponent, the attack is directed at us, and going by the numbers, sheer numbers of people who are coming forward to say this from the opposition shows this is an attempt at mass surveillance.
Government of India is very clear that freedom of expression, privacy, and all civil liberties must be respected and also protected. That's why those people who are doing illegal acts, working against the interests of the country, they will be complaining about all this thing. We are very clear, we are not like Congress party and other people who will do illegal acts. We follow the rules.
मैसेज बता रहा है कि आपका स्टेट एजेंसी या स्टेट की तरफ से हैक किया जा रहा है या जासूसी की जा रही है. तो बड़े दुख की बात है, आज हमारे डेमोक्रेसी में, लोकतंत्र में आज़ादी और आपकी प्राइवेसी को भी ये किस लिए उसको ख़त्म करना चाहते हैं. आखिरकार जासूसी किस लिए? और इस सीमा तक कि जो पार्टी के बड़े नेता हैं, पार्टियों के बड़े नेता हैं, उनके मोबाइल सर्वेलेंस में ले लिए जाए, उनकी जानकारी हो जाए.
न यहाँ कोई जासूसी का जेम्स बॉन्ड है और न बगिंग का बाहुबली. इसलिए जो है वो न किसी को डरने की ज़रूरत है न डराने की. हर 6 महीने में आप कहेंगे कि हमारी जासूसी हो रही है. आप क्या छिपाना चाहते हैं? क्या छिपाने के लिए आपके पास है? जब आप एकदम ट्रांसपेरेंट हैं तो जो एप्रोप्रिएट एजेंसी है उसको अपना मोबाइल दे दीजिए, वो जेम्स बॉन्ड को निकाल करके पकड़ करके आपको थमा देगा.
These are baseless allegations. Apple has clarified. This is a notification that says sent out to users across 150 countries. What does the government of India has to do with it? And the opposition must be delusional to think that the government of India wants to snoop on them. Clearly what Rahul Gandhi does, who he meets in foreign countries, the George Soros network, people who host him, his visits to countries like Uzbekistan in the middle of election season is all known to people of this country. His foreign visits are under huge cloud. So for the Congress to allege that there is snooping because the government wants to know something that they're doing is preposterous. And if you're so concerned, why don't you go file an FIR? Why don't you submit your phones for investigation and cooperate? When the Supreme Court had taken up the Pegasus matter, you did not. But you want to use every opportunity to hurl allegations at the government and then run away. This is not how public discourse works, and that is why Rahul Gandhi really has no credibility. Who takes him seriously?
So what was this drama really all about? Was it actually a hack attack or was it a false alarm that was raised is the big question here. Now, threat notifications are designed essentially to assist users is what Apple has said. Information to users who may have been targeted by state-backed attackers. That's a statement that has been released by Apple. State-sponsored attacks harder to detect and prevent. Also, state-sponsored attacks are highly complex is what Apple essentially has said in a statement. Also, Apple goes on to talk about the fact that they're unable to provide information on what causes us to issue threat notice. Why do they do it? They say we can't tell you. Possible that some Apple threat notifications may be false alarms. That's what Apple has said, that maybe even this one was a false alarm. That really happens sometimes. That's what Apple essentially has said on the threat notification that was sent to so many members of parliament and leaders of opposition parties. This is how Apple is explaining as to what really went wrong. The government, of course, says 150 countries have got it, and there are just a handful of people in India who are making a ruckus about it. Now, Meri, Maati, Mera, Desh campaign culminates today. A grand culmination ceremony has been organized on Delhi's Kartavya Path today. The event that has been organized on the National Unity Day will also witness the participation by Prime Minister Modi, who will not just address thousands of Amrit Kalash Yatris joining the program from across the country, but also will launch Mera Yuva Bharat platform for youth. Meri, Maati, Mera Desh campaign is a tribute to the Veers and Viranganas who have made the supreme sacrifice for the country. The campaign comprises of a collection of mitti and rice grains from over 6 lakh villages from across India. Union Minister Anurag Thakur said the clay or mitti from state level is going to be sent to the national capital, and an Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav memorial is going to be formed with the clay.
Jai Jaykara, Jai Jaykara, Swami dena साथ हमारा, देशवासियों देना साथ हमारा।
देश भर के गांव-गांव से आए हुए युवा एक संदेश लेकर जाएंगे कर्तव्य निभाने का और भारत को विकसित भारत बनाने का। मेरी माटी मेरा देश, ये कार्यक्रम आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव का अंतिम कार्यक्रम है, जो देश के 6 लाख से ज्यादा गांव से मिट्टी एकत्र करके देश के युवा यहाँ पर आए हैं। अब इस मिट्टी से यहाँ पर अमृत वाटिका बनेगी और आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव मेमोरियल स्मारक बनेगा, वॉर मेमोरियल के साथ लगती जमीन पर इंडिया गेट पे।
मैं माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देना चाहूँगा, क्योंकि उनका मार्गदर्शन से ही इतना भव्य कार्य संभव हो रहा है कि आज पूरा देश भर की कोने कोने से आज हमारे देश का जो पवित्र मिट्टी है वो इस दिल्ली का कर्तव्य पथ में आ रहा है और अमृत वाटिका बनने के लिए पूरी तरह से तैयार है।
जो जनता के ऐसे एक जनता के अंदर ऐसे आह्वान किया, जो मेरी माटी मेरा देश मेरी माँ ऐसे करके आह्वान दिया। अब देखिए सारे देश की युवा आज इकट्ठा हो रहे हैं, हर गांव से हर घर से मिट्टी लेकर दिल्ली पहुंच रहे हैं। अभी बहुत सारे लोग पहुंच गया, आज रात के अंदर सभी लोग पहुंच जाएंगे। हर ब्लॉक से जो कलश आ रहे हैं, ये कलश में उस ब्लॉक के सभी गांव के सभी घर का मिट्टी रहे।
Shreya Chatterjee, my colleague, is getting us more details on that story, joining us live right now. This is a huge push as far as the empowerment of the youth also is concerned. The government throwing its weight behind this campaign. Just take us through the details and the itinerary of the same, Shreya.
But Sneha, we are at the Kartavya Path where the Prime Minister will be addressing the culmination of the Mera, Maati, Mera, Desh campaign. Now, this campaign was actually designed to pay a tribute to the brave hearts of the country, the martyrs of the country, and across 36 UTs and states and 766 districts is what it's reached. There has been soil that has been collected, bought over here in the Kartavya Path, which has been accumulated in the Amrit Kalash, which will be used to create the Amrit Vatika. Just to give you a sense of the ground, I'll ask my cameraman to pan and show you the crowd that is present over here. People across the country have actually come from different parts of states, different states, all colorful. There were special trains that were also organized for these people to come. We'll try and get a word from some of these people. कैसा लग रहा है आप लोगों को इस कार्यक्रम में आने के बाद?
बहुत अच्छा लगा और हम जम्मू कश्मीर से आज जम्मू कश्मीर को जो है फर्स्ट पोजीशन मिली है यहाँ पे और हमें जो हमारे युवा आए हैं उनमें जोश और खरोश है और बड़ी मेहनत की थी और ज्यादातर उनमें से एनवाईसीज ने बहुत मेहनत की है पंचायत लेवल से ब्लॉक से फिर हेडक्वार्टर से फिर जम्मू से फिर जब दिल्ली की तरफ रवाना हुए तो बहुत जोश और खरोश था बहुत खुशी है जम्मू कश्मीर
So as you heard Sneha, these are the people who have come from the J&K contingent, everyone from different states, different UTs, they've come over here, they're excited, they're happy, and that is the atmosphere here at the Kartavya Path. The stage is all set for the Prime Minister to come and address the ceremony. That will happen in a while, but we have seen performances from the likes of Kailash Khir and all. There's a stage that's set to keep the mood tight, and that's what we are experiencing right now at the Kartavya Path. And finally, it will be the Prime Minister's stage when he comes and address the youth of this country.
Shreya, I'm going to thank you for the moment for getting us those details. Shreya Chatterjee with that ground report. Massive war of words over the ED's summons to Arvind Kejriwal. Reacting to the summons issued to the Chief Minister, Oppn Minister Atishi has alleged that the central agency has no evidence against the Delhi Chief Minister, but it will arrest him on the 2nd of November on directions from the BJP is what she says. Stating that BJP and the Prime Minister want to finish the Aam Aadmi Party, Atishi said that BJP is plotting against the Delhi Chief Minister with false allegations, fake and fabricated cases. In a scathing attack, BJP said that AAP has been the biggest letdown in the political history of India. Remember, the Enforcement Directorate has summoned Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal on the 2nd of November in the Delhi excise policy case. Earlier, Delhi Chief Minister was questioned by the Central Bureau of Investigation for over 9 hours on the 16th of April. The summons come hours after the Supreme Court rejected the bail plea of former Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia.
Such a massive scam cannot take place without the clear approval of Mr. Kejriwal. Law में कहते हैं direct evidence and very suspicious circumstantial evidence. तो ये दोनों उपलब्ध हैं. तो ऐसे में केजरीवाल जी को बुलाया जा रहा है अगर ईडी के द्वारा तो हाय तौबा क्यों मची हुई है? इसमें भाजपा का कोई संबंध नहीं है, एक भी नहीं है. जैसी करनी वैसी भरनी.
भारतीय जनता पार्टी की कोशिश है कि अरविंद केजरीवाल जी को गिरफ्तार करके जेल में डाला जाए, आम आदमी पार्टी के तमाम बड़े नेताओं को जेल में डाला जाए और आम आदमी पार्टी को खत्म कर दिया जाए. मगर मैं भारतीय जनता पार्टी को ये बताना चाहता हूं, जब जब आम आदमी पार्टी को खत्म करने की कोशिश की है, आम आदमी पार्टी और मजबूत और ताकतवर होकर दोबारा से बाहर निकली है, रिबाउंड किया है.
जो ईमानदारी के सर्टिफिकेट देते थे, उनका कैसे एक के बाद दूसरा मंत्री जेल गया और जेल के बाद बेल भी नहीं हुई, और साल भर से ये कभी सत्येंद्र जैन जी को, कभी मनीष सिसोदिया जी को, कभी संजय सिंह जी को, इन सबको ईमानदारी के सर्टिफिकेट माननीय मुख्यमंत्री अरविंद केजरीवाल जी बांट रहे थे. सच्चाई ये है कि जब से सत्ता में आए हैं, एक के बाद दूसरा इनका नेता भ्रष्टाचार में लिप्त पाया गया और आप पिछले 8-9 वर्षों की कड़ी एक के बाद दूसरी देखिए कि कैसे व्यापक भ्रष्टाचार आम आदमी पार्टी ने दिल्ली से लेकर पंजाब तक किया है।
BJP is using ED and CBI to finish off anyone who opposes Bharatiya Janata Party, to finish off anyone whom Bharatiya Janata Party cannot defeat in elections. You can see how one after the other, senior leaders of Aam Aadmi Party are being targeted. If Arvind Kejriwal is arrested, it would mean all top 5 leaders of Aam Aadmi Party are going to be in jail. Why is this happening? Because election after election, BJP is not able to defeat Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi. They are not able to defeat Aam Aadmi Party in Punjab. And this is why, because they can't defeat us, they want to finish Aam Aadmi Party by putting all our leaders in jail.
Mr. Arvind Kejriwal is the leader of the Aam Aadmi Party. It is his government in Delhi. In that government, 2 of his senior colleagues are in jail, not getting bail, because there are serious allegations with regard to the excise and the liquor scam in Delhi, where procedure was allegedly not followed. Benefit was given to private companies. It seems money has exchanged hands. That's what the investigation seems to indicate, and it's in the media. Now, if he, as the leader of that party, the one whose government has taken all the decisions, is called for an investigation or to answer questions by the investigative agencies, he must cooperate. This is for the investigative agencies to see whose cooperation they require in terms of the investigation.
किसी भी तरीके से ये अरविंद केजरीवाल को फंसाना चाहते हैं, किसी भी तरीके से अरविंद केजरीवाल जी को राजनीतिक रूप से ये खत्म करना चाहते हैं। और प्रश्न ये उठता है कि भाई ये क्यों कर रहे हैं? आपके सामने ही होगा कि इन्होंने पूरी कोशिश लगा ली सही तरीके से चुनाव में हराने की, दिल्ली में ये फेल हो गए। इन्होंने पूरी कोशिश कर ली पंजाब में रोकने की, ये फेल हो गए। फिर दिल्ली में वापस एमसीडी का चुनाव ये हार गए। और जिस तरीके से आम आदमी पार्टी का विस्तार हो रहा है, नरेंद्र मोदी जी को और भारतीय जनता पार्टी को ये स्पष्ट हो गया कि इस पार्टी को और अरविंद केजरीवाल को लीगल तरीके से चुनाव में हराना मुश्किल ही नहीं, नामुमकिन होते जा रहा है। ये राजनीतिक लड़ाई है जो भारतीय जनता पार्टी पब्लिक के सामने नहीं लड़ पा रही है, इसलिए ईडी और सीबीआई के उपयोग।
Getting in some details, and these pictures are coming in of, in fact, supporters of Chandrababu Naidu. Remember, the beleaguered TDP chief has been released out of jail today. The Andhra Pradesh High Court, in fact, has given him relief, of course, with the conditions attached. But he has a 4-week relief period in terms of a 4-week interim bail, and these are workers and supporters of the TDP who have in fact gathered there in support of the chief, their chief, N. Chandrababu Naidu, who's got a 4-week interim bail on medical grounds. This is in connection with the skill development scam that Naidu was found embroiled in. Today, the Andhra Pradesh High Court has granted a 4-week interim bail to Chandrababu Naidu on health grounds. So several TDP workers have gathered in support of Chandrababu Naidu, and these pictures are coming in from Raja Mundri in Andhra Pradesh. Naidu is going to be walking out of jail today, and it's an important day for TDP workers, with the Andhra Pradesh High Court granting interim bail to the former Chief Minister and TDP Chief Chandrababu Naidu in the skill development scam. He's got relief on health grounds, and he in fact will be on bail for 4 weeks now. He's been under judicial remand since the 10th of September. Today, Naidu, in fact, has got relief on health grounds. Apurva is getting us more details on that story. An important day for TDP and the workers of the party. A relief in a sense, given that Chandrababu Naidu at least have 4 weeks in terms of the relief that he's got from court today. Apurva.
Well, that's right. Chandrababu Naidu has just now been released from Rajahmundry jail, and as you can see, several people who are TDP followers and Naidu followers have in fact gathered here at Rajahmundry Central Jail as he has just walked out. This what TDP believers and TDP cadres believe to be one of the biggest justice that has been met with them and with Naidu as well. Remember, this is despite this being a conditional bail that is granted to Naidu. We are seeing how the several TDP cadres have just gathered here as Naidu has now walked out of the central prison here in Rajahmundry. Remember, his 4 weeks is the conditional bail time that has been given for Naidu, and now we are seeing him having walked out from here. Definitely an important moment that we can see where the public have gathered here, going wild, even as Naidu has now walked out of central jail. Remember, Naidu was there inside Rajahmundry prison, having been arrested in the AP skill development case scam, and now after almost what seems to be 50 days, he has now been granted 4 weeks of interim bail that has been issued to him. A massive day, that massive victory that the TDP supporters themselves say that this is the day that Naidu has now walked out from the central jail in Rajahmundry. In fact, the central jail conditions that were also kept for his conditional bail was that citing his health reasons, and that is why he has also walked out from there. He has been given time to recuperate, to get the necessary treatment that is needed for him to get himself treated. There were also several health issues that were cited by Naidu's legal team. And now there's been a conditional bail that has been granted for the former Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu. 4 weeks of conditional bail time that has been granted for him. It's going to be interesting to see the next couple of days what is going to be the plan of action for Naidu as well, because remember, right here from Rajahmundry is also en route to Vijayawada. Tonight there's going to be a massive inflow of supporters who are going to gather here as Naidu has now walked out of Rajahmundry jail. It's going to be a big day for TDP supporters as they finally get to catch glimpses of their leader who has now walked out of Rajahmundry central.
Absolutely, it appears to be a little chaotic there as well. Just talk to us about how the police, in fact, is bringing the situation under control. It's a sea of supporters there, isn't it, Apurva?
Definitely, there's a sea of supporters who have gathered here for welcoming Naidu back, from Rajahmundry prison. We're also seeing how all of these supporters who have gathered here are increasingly, enthusiastic about Naidu having released from prison. In fact, yes, this is the conditional bail that has been granted to him for 4 weeks. But we are also, seeing how the TDP supporters have gathered here in large numbers for Naidu, who has now walked out of Rajahmundry Central Jail. Remember, Naidu had been arrested and picked up as named as A1 accused in the AP skill development case scam, and now Nara Lokesh, Nara Brahmani, Nara Bhuvaneshwari, the entire family, kith and kin of Naidu have arrived here to receive him in a warm welcome. In fact, that's what we're seeing from these visuals as well. In fact, the crowds that have gathered here definitely indicates the kind of hold that Naidu has, and it's going to be interesting to see what the next couple of days are going to pan out for Naidu. Definitely, there has been his convoy has also arrived here, which will be taking him en route to Vijayawada, where he will also be going ahead. In fact, Nara Lokesh, Nara Brahmani.
Right. Apurva will in fact keep coming back to you for more details on that story, but there is relief for Chandrababu Naidu, at least for a 4-week period, because of the Andhra Pradesh High Court granting him bail for the next 4 weeks or so. With that, it's time for a quick commercial break here. News continues on the other side.
You are watching India Today.
Get ready for
immersive journey into the heart of news, politics, and insights that matter. Join India Today now on WhatsApp with the #1 election team as we gear up for the upcoming assembly elections. Do scan the QR code.
Join India Today now on WhatsApp. Follow these steps. Open WhatsApp on your phone. Check for a new updates tab. Select Find Channel and type India Today. After finding the channel, tap the Follow button.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com. You are watching India Today.
Hello and welcome. Israel's offensive into Gaza has now entered a second stage. To get a sense of how long this ground offensive could go on for and what to expect from here, we're joined on India Today's news track by Fareed Zakaria, the world's top foreign affairs guru. Fareed, welcome and thank you.
Pleasure to be here, Arun.
The Israel Defense Force has gone into Gaza in a way which is quite different from what was initially imagined after the 7th of October. They thought that it'd be a big blitzkrieg. Instead, they've gone in some areas in a slow and deliberate fashion. Why do you think they've chosen to do what they have? And how do you see this ground offensive pan out from what we've seen so far?
I think you have to give President Biden a lot of credit for the way he has handled this. If you remember when it all began with the Hamas terror attack, President Biden was very strongly behind Israel, visited Israel, gained enormous credibility, I think, not just from the Israeli government, but from the Israeli people. That then allowed him to make his main pitch, which, if you remember, was slow down, think this through, ask yourself why and what you are doing, make sure that you have a plan for what happens as it goes on, and most importantly, he said, don't act in the heat of the moment, We did that after 9/11. We made mistakes. That was a very rare thing for an American president to say. And I think it allowed the whole Israeli system, because Biden is right now wildly popular in Israel, it allowed the whole Israeli system to almost sort of calm down for a minute. It almost gave them permission to think things through. And look, they're very smart people. And they began to realize, look, what do we gain by a massive ground assault? You're going to kill thousands and thousands of people. You're going to destroy the entire infrastructure. And will we really do better doing that? And what happens when we win? So now it seems to me that they have decided to do something a little bit more targeted. So they're going into particular areas. Presumably there are particular buildings and tunnels and military infrastructure they're going after. Don't get me wrong. They're still, I mean, Gaza it's a brutal strategy with a lot of collateral damage. But it's much, much less than would have happened.
It could also last for much longer.
It will probably last for much longer. So it's tougher on the Israelis. But I think doing something like this that is more targeted, more, more specified, more narrow, is likely ultimately to be a better strategy. They still have the big challenge, Rahul, which is what happens when this all is done.
I'll come to that. The mission objective right now is to destroy the Hamas. From what you understand, do you think they'll be able to achieve the objective of finishing the Hamas once and forever?
Look, I think they will be able to deal a very, very lethal blow to Hamas as an organization, as a military operating organization. They did it with Hezbollah. And they were able to, now Hezbollah is different, it's in its own country, as it were, Lebanon, but they really managed to decimate it. They'll be able to do something similar with Hamas, but they will not be able to change they will not be able to destroy the idea of armed resistance. And that's the part.
Make it worse, in fact.
Right, that's the part which I think fundamentally the Israelis are not thinking through properly, which is, the idea of armed resistance is being fed by the feeling that Palestinians have that non-violent resistance has gotten them nowhere. The problem for the Israelis is, if you don't want armed resistance, you have to demonstrate that non-violent resistance pays off. And the non-violent resistance that the Palestinian Authority, in a sense, embodies, which is, we'll negotiate with you, we recognize you, we renounce terror, but it's gotten them nothing. They had promised their people a state on the West Bank. They haven't gotten it. They've gotten more checkpoints. They've gotten more military laws. They've even got more violence against them. The settlers have been engaging in random acts of violence. They rarely get arrested or prosecuted. So that's the dilemma. If you say nonviolent protest does not pay, you can understand how people will say, well, maybe violence is the only answer. And as you were implying, this kind of massive assault, Rumsfeld used to have this memo. He say, every day we should ask ourselves, are we killing more terrorists than we are generating with this action? That's a really interesting question to ask in Gaza.
So the initial question was that the Israeli Defense Forces will go in after a few weeks, occupy Gaza, and then the question would be what happens next. Now in this slow and deliberate response, the question changes to what happens in the interim while Gaza is being pounded and the IDF is coming in, could take much longer. And secondly, to the point that you said in response to your first answer, who runs Gaza later? I spoke to the former Prime Minister Ehud Barak. His sense was it could be an Arab coalition of sorts, an idea he tried to moot many decades ago which didn't work, but he thought it's now more doable than when he was Prime Minister. What's your sense?
I doubt it. Think about this. If you're the President of Egypt, you're the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, are you going to go on the back of Israeli tanks, as it were, after the Israelis have gone in and in a sense, take over from the Israelis, work with the Israelis to set up a government in Gaza? And don't forget, whatever remnants there are of Hamas and Islamic Jihad are not going to be happy with that. They will launch an insurgency against you. The US tried to do this in Iraq. They brought in the UN to help govern Iraq. Immediately, the insurgency targeted the UN, and the that diplomat Sergio Milo was killed in the bomb blast. So I don't think you're going to be able to find very easily an Arab force that's going to be willing to do this.
So what happens then to Gaza? Who runs it?
My gut is that Israel will face the brutal reality that either it will have to run it or it will have to withdraw, and it will...
But Israel can't possibly run Gaza, given that you have a hostile population. Even if the population comes down from 2 million plus, there's still lakhs of Gazans or Palestinian citizens.
Look, remember, they used to. I mean, Israel occupied Gaza from 1967. So, look, maybe I'm wrong, and they will be able to find some coalition of Arab forces that would be willing to do it. But really, those are the three options, right? There's one possibility is you get a bunch of Arab countries to do it. The second is Israel does it. The third is you just leave, and effectively some version of Hamas or something will come together. There is one other thought, which is the Palestinian Authority.
Which is very unpopular. Recent polls show the Palestinian Authority being very unpopular in Gaza.
Yes. So none of these are optimal outcomes, but could you get the Palestinian Authority to come in again? Would they be willing to come in on the back of Israeli tanks and say we are benefiting from Israel having displaced Hamas? I doubt it. That's the whole problem here is anyone who is coming in, on the backs of Israeli tanks is going to be delegitimized in the eyes of the Gazans, not because they love Hamas, but because they don't like Israel, and they particularly despise what Israel is doing right now. This massive military incursion. So how can any force be seen as legitimate that in some ways working hand in glove with the Israeli forces? So if you agree that that's a fundamental problem, then you're left with these two options. Israel rules Gaza, or it leaves and some version of Hamas comes back.
How do you see the Hamas being able to fight back? From the 8th of October to now, to some extent, Hamas's military capacity has been degraded. Your best understanding of how much of their military capacity remains and their ability to hold the IDF back or damage the IDF as it comes in?
My sense is that there's been a lot of damage. The Israelis have dropped a stunning number of bombs in Gaza. I mean, bombs, rockets, whatever you call it. By some accounts, they have already dropped more bombs on Gaza than the U.S. did in Iraq in the first year of the invasion. And, Iraq is a huge country. Gaza is, is a very, very small area. So my sense is there's a lot of damage to the infrastructure. A lot of the tunnels have been damaged. One of the reasons that the Israelis are blocking fuel to Gaza is because that very elaborate system of tunnels that Hamas has built is all underground, but it all requires air to be vented in, which is all done through power. And so once you don't have power, those tunnels can become death traps. So I think there's a scenario in which this is not going to be that easy, but urban warfare generally helps the protector, the defender. They know the territory, the Israelis don't. They could have booby-trapped, landmine places. The Israelis don't need it. Interestingly, one of the reasons I think the Israelis did as much aerial bombardment as they did was they don't want to go apartment by apartment. They're just blowing down the entire building. So it's a much more brutal way of doing it. Whereas the United States, when it went into Iraq and helped the Iraqi army clear out cities, they would go apartment by apartment because we go very tough, very hard, very long. The Israelis have just knocked down the entire building.
In your view, did the Hamas think through second and third order consequences of their attack on the 7th of October? Now, there are two theories. One is that the terrorist organization is just so focused on making the terror attack itself a success that they haven't spent much time thinking through what comes next. The other is, given the scale and the precision of the attack, the Hamas would have naturally thought this through because these weren't terrorists planning the attack, they were military minds. Not just did they think through the attack itself, they also thought through their response. What's your view?
We're all guessing. It's a very good question that you're asking. My own general view about this is that people exaggerate the smarts of a lot of these terrorists. I mean, these are often, young, agitated, revolutionary types, hotheads. They're not great chess players. They're not sitting there, masterminding this. But I think it's fair to say that it would be crazy if they had not thought through the fact that the Israelis would respond. And of course, the Israelis would respond in a fairly big way. Did they believe it would be as dramatic as what you're seeing now? I doubt it. I think that the Israeli response has probably surprised them just in terms of the size and scale of the aerial bombardment, the way in which they've mobilized. I mean, they've mobilized 400, 500,000. If you take the army plus the reserves, you've got a huge Israeli army there. So I don't know that they have thought through, what do we do if you have, thousands and thousands of bombs dropped on Gaza? What do we do if half the population has been evacuated out of northern Gaza? That's what they are facing now is probably the most significant military operation against a Palestinian group, since 1948,
One of the big questions still is about whether this conflict escalates into a regional war, whether the Hezbollah gets involved, whether Syria gets involved. There have been some limited attacks, skirmishes on both sides. American assets also at least attempted to be targeted. Do you see this escalate, or do you think as the war wears on, the chances of escalation are coming down?
I tend to think that the escalation is more likely to happen depending on what Israel does rather than the other way around. Because at the center of the question of escalation from the north is the issue of Iran. Hezbollah is an arm of Iran. Hamas has ties with Iran. I think sometimes people exaggerate them. There's no question that the Iranians give Hamas funding, but it's a more complicated relationship. For example, over Syria, Hamas and Iran broke because Iran was supporting Assad, and Hamas, being a radical Sunni fundamentalist organization, was actually supporting the Sunni jihadists who were fighting President Assad in Syria. So there are differences, but Hezbollah is basically an arm of Iran. My sense of Iranian strategy is that they have always been a little bit more under the radar. If you look at how Iran exerts influence in the Middle East, they don't go around, invading countries. What they do is they develop political groups and militias in Iraq. They develop political group and militia in Lebanon, Hezbollah. They support the Houthis in Yemen. They support the government of Assad. These are all essentially non-Sunni groups, right? The Alawites, the Houthis, the Hezbollah, the Shia. That's their mechanism. They're more kind of slow, organic, steady, infiltrating. It would be very uncharacteristic of them to go for a blitzkrieg where they launch, people keep saying Hezbollah has 150,000 rockets and they'll launch them all at Israel. It may do. Look, I may be wrong, but that would be certainly a break from the history. So my own sense is that the Iranians are watching. They're trying to see, what is the way they can at low cost gain maximum advantage here, and can they tie Israel down? Can they do more? Because if you notice the strikes from the north now are pinpricks. They're designed to distract Israel, to give it a little trouble, no more than that.
But that could have an escalatory spiral of its own at any time.
Because if the Israelis feel, jittery and they feel like they need to eliminate that potential threat, and there's a massive Israeli strike on Hezbollah rocket launchers, could Hezbollah then respond in kind? Yes, absolutely. But what I'm saying is a lot will depend on how Israel handles this. And I think that Israel will see the wisdom on, better to handle the one-front war than to try to deal with the two-front war.
Opinion seems divided at the moment on the role that Iran played in this Hamas attack. The Wall Street Journal has been reporting that a lot of these Hamas terrorists actually trained in Iran before this. American intel seems to be trying very hard to debunk that, saying the Iranians were caught off guard. They obviously don't want that it be accepted globally that Iran was involved. What's your sense of what Iran actually knew about the attack and whether these terrorists were trained in and by Iran?
As I say, Iran's relationship with Hamas is more complicated than with the Hezbollah. They have definitely funded it. They have helped coordinate some level of activity between Hezbollah and Hamas. But the people I've talked to in the intelligence community in the US do not believe that Iran directs Hamas. Iran has that kind of direct level of control. And I don't, the two don't have identical objectives. So it's difficult to tell. They certainly benefit. Iran benefits from Hamas, destabilizing the things, particularly, the one reason I do think that Iran is happy about this, even if it didn't plan it, and I don't have direct knowledge one way or the other, is that the principal geopolitical effect of this Hamas attack and the Israeli counterattack has been to delay and perhaps delay for a while the Saudi-Israeli rapprochement. So if you think about it in those terms, who benefits? The greatest benefit has been that alliance between the Gulf Arabs and Israel that was on its way to becoming almost a formal alliance has been severely damaged.
But that just seems to be temporary. At some point in time, we've seen enough now from Saudi Arabia as well to suggest that once this is done with, they want to stay on that path. It's not dead and buried as was initially imagined soon after the attack.
Yeah, that's probably true. Look, the underlying strategic reality that created this situation is the following. It all starts with the Iraq War. In the Iraq War, what the United States does is it dislodges the Sunni government in Iraq, Saddam Hussein's government, and empowers a democratic government. But in the Middle East, people don't think in terms of democracy and not. What democratic government in Iraq means a Shia government in Iraq, because it's a Shia majority country. So what happens there is you have now disrupted the fundamental strategic balance of the Middle East, which was between the Shias and the Sunnis, between the Persians and the Arabs. Suddenly, Iran has access and influence, substantial access and influence to this powerful Arab, previously Sunni state. This scares the Saudis, the Emiratis, who start thinking to themselves, Iran's influence is growing. In the Yemen situation, it becomes even stronger. So now they start to say to themselves, we need to band together and we need to find common cause with Israel, which is the other great anti-Iranian power in the region. And what had previously been the big obstacle to that normalization, the Palestinian issue, they decide, the threat is too great. Screw the Palestinians. We're going to go ahead and do this. So that's the logic, and you're exactly right. That logic still applies. But what they are realizing, I think, is that the governments may think, screw the Palestinians. The people don't think that. And so all of a sudden, they're now on the back foot because they've realized that, they're beyond a point they cannot really screw the Palestinians. They can't ignore the issue. They will have to resolve that. They will not be able to just go back to, a year from now, the violence has died down, and they'll say, the Israelis will have to make some significant compromises on the Palestinian issue. This is, by the way, what the Biden administration was urging the Israelis to do anyway. Question is, will this government in Israel be willing to make any concessions on the Palestinian issue?
Do you think the attack and what's following after that makes the possibility of a two-state solution more real? It was kind of dying and being buried by the Netanyahu government. Do you think now that it's more alive in the global conscience, it just makes it imperative that there be some kind of ceasefire at some time and there be some kind of resolution?
Look, it'll take a while because I think people need to understand, particularly outside Israel, this really was Israel's 9/11. It's probably even more dramatic in a sense because in percentage of the population, it's like 30,000 Americans dying. Israel also has these memories of the Holocaust and things like that. So this is a very charged moment in Israel. They want revenge and they want to show the Palestinians, Hamas in particular, you can never do this to us again. But when that dies down, I do think it has made everybody in the world, and I think including Israel, realize you can't just sweep this under the rug. There are 5.5 million Palestinians living in territory controlled by Israel. You've got to do something with them. And in a sense, it's very simple. Either they have to get political rights within Israel, or they have to have some political entity of their own that they regard as adequate, which is a state of some kind. If you do neither, you have a situation which is not going to be, it's not going to be manageable, it's not going to stay quiet. And so I think you're right, that in some senses what this will do is to make people realize that problem of 5.5 million Palestinians has to be solved.
Israel now has a wartime cabinet. Some of the more radical elements have been left on the side just for the time being. What does this war mean for the politics of Benjamin Netanyahu? Is Bibi's political career over in your view?
People have said that about him for a long time. He's one of the shrewdest politicians I've ever met. He's very, very canny. He's also pretty opportunistic, by which I mean he will ally with whoever it takes to stay in power. So I would never rule him out, but I think it's looking tough. It's looking hard because he has been discredited. A lot of people on the right and the left feel like he was pursuing the wrong strategy. And this is one of the things that when a politician does something that undermines his own image of himself, that's the worst. Because Bibi always said he was Mr. Security, Mr. National Security, the tough guy. Well, the tough guy is the guy who seemed to be asleep at the switch when you had this massive attack. So it's going to be tough for him, but don't make a mistake of thinking that means you'll get a more left-wing government in Israel. I mean, if you get Bibi Netanyahu discredited, that might actually move you to another Likud leader, or it could even mean an even more right-wing government. The left in Israel, the fundamental dynamic that has taken place, and this is where Palestinians, I think, really do, one has to place a lot of the blame on them. When Arafat turns down the Camp David agreement that Ehud Barak and Bill Clinton put together, Arafat turns that down and launches an intifada. That destroyed the Israeli left for a generation. That was 2000. We're in 2023. Basically, the left has been out of power in any meaningful sense all that time. And it was because of that. It was because of that feeling that even when we tried to give them a state, they didn't accept it. Now, there are many good Palestinian accounts of what the nature of that proposal was. It wasn't a proper state. It wasn't a full state. But I think the political effect, nevertheless, was to destroy the Israeli left. I don't think this attack will help revive the Israeli left. And that's the fundamental problem. The Israeli left is willing to work toward a Palestinian state. This new Israeli right is fundamentally unwilling. And it has no answer to this problem. What do you do with 5.5 million Palestinians? They seem to think they can just, kind of keep them in this servile condition forever. But I think they're wrong.
This has been a fascinating masterclass. So much insight. It's like being in college and listening to your professor speak, and so much to learn and take away from this interaction. Thank you very much, Fareed Zakaria, as always. Thank
Rahul, you. Always a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
You are watching India Today.
Weather forecast now. Delhi, maximum 33 and minimum 20 degrees. Mumbai, maximum 31 and minimum 26 degrees. Kolkata, maximum 32 and minimum 21 degrees. Bangalore, maximum 25 and minimum 19 degrees. Chennai, maximum
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
Co-powered by the bold look of Kohler, Tira for every you, Protein changes growth, HDFC Bank Expressway.
Good evening, you're watching 5 Live. I'm Gaurav Sawant. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will lead the nation in paying tributes to the braves who made the supreme sacrifice of their lives for our country. At Kartavya Path, the Prime Minister will also lead the nation in taking a pledge to make India a developed country by 2047, 100th year of India's independence. We get you all details, but as always, let's get started with the headlines at 5. Opposition MPs allege phone hacking by government agencies after an Apple iPhone alert. Government dismisses the charge, says hacking alert issued across 150 countries and not just India.
There are many compulsive critics in our country. Their only and only job is to criticize the government as and when they wake up, as and when they find an opportunity.
Union Minister Rajiv Chandrasekhar booked for alleged false and politically motivated remark on Kerala IED blast. BJP cries foul, claims a false case has been registered against Rajiv Chandrasekhar. Aam Aadmi Party Minister Atishi slams the Enforcement Directorate summons against Delhi's Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal, claims the BJP will get Kejriwal arrested soon after questioning. India celebrates the National Integration Day, pays tributes to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Prime Minister Narendra Modi leads the nation in these celebrations with a Unity Day parade in केवड़िया गुजरात
में रखा गया है और
25 वर्षों में हमें अपने इस भारत को समृद्ध बनाना है, हमारे भारत को विकसित बनाना है.
Israel expands Gaza ground assault on day 4. Firing escalates at the Gaza Strip. Israel hostage soldier rescued from Hamas.
The big question continues to remain: what happens after
5, 6 days, 7 days, 2 weeks, a month? How long is it going to go on for? Because remember, the hostage crisis continues to fester and simmer. It has intensified like we first reported here on India Today.
And our top focus on this special broadcast is Meri Maati, Mera Desh campaign. A grand culmination ceremony has been organized on Kartavya Path in the national capital. The event has been organized on the National Unity Day, which will witness the participation of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He will address at least 75,000, that's the expectation, at least 75,000 Amrit Kalash Yatris joining the program from across the country today on the 31st of October. The Prime Minister will also launch the Mera Yuva Bharat platform for youth. Meri Maati, Mera Desh campaign is a tribute to the braves of India who made the supreme sacrifice of their lives for our country. The campaign comprises collection of soil, mitti and rice grains from over 6 lakh villages and blocks from across the country. Union Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Thakur said that the mitti, the soil from states, from various blocks, from various villages across the country was collected and has been sent here to the national capital, and there is an Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav Memorial and Park that will be made. In fact, plants are being brought in from almost across the country for a smarak, for a memorial to be built right next to the National War Memorial. Before I get you more on the story, let's quickly listen in to Union Minister Anurag Thakur. Let's also listen in to Kailash Kher and others on Meri Maati, Mera Desh.
देश भर के गांव-गांव से आए हुए युवा एक संदेश लेकर जाएंगे कर्तव्य निभाने का और भारत को विकसित भारत बनाने का। मेरी माटी मेरा देश ये कार्यक्रम आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव का अंतिम कार्यक्रम है, जो देश के 6 लाख से ज्यादा गांव से मिट्टी एकत्र करके देश के युवा यहां पर आए हैं। अब इस मिट्टी से यहां पर अमृत वाटिका बनेगी और आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव मेमोरियल स्मारक बनेगा, वॉर मेमोरियल के साथ लगती जमीन पर इंडिया गेट पे।
मैं माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देना चाहूंगा, क्योंकि उनका मार्गदर्शन से ही इतना भव्य कार्य संभव हो रहा है कि आज पूरा देश भर की कोने कोने से आज हमारे देश का जो पवित्र मिट्टी है वो इस दिल्ली का कर्तव्य पथ में आ रहा है और अमृत वाटिका बनने के लिए पूरी तरह से तैयार है।
जो जनता के ऐसे एक जनता के अंदर ऐसे आह्वान किया, जो मेरी माटी मेरा देश मेरी माँ ऐसे करके आह्वान दिया। अब देखिए सारे देश की युवा आज इकट्ठा हो रहे हैं, हर गांव से हर घर से मिट्टी लेकर दिल्ली पहुंच रहे हैं। अभी बहुत सारे लोग पहुंच गया, आज रात के अंदर सभी लोग पहुंच जाएंगे। हर ब्लॉक से जो कलश आ रहे हैं, ये कलश में उस ब्लॉक के सभी गांव के सभी घर का मिट्टी रहे।
जय जयकारा जय जयकारा, स्वामी देना साथ हमारा, देशवासियों देना साथ हमारा।
And India Today, Shreya Chatterjee now joins us live from Kartavya Path. Shreya, Meri Maati, Mera Desh, an attempt to connect the entire nation and have one bond. Take us through what's been happening ever since this started in August to its culmination today.
Gaurav, today is the finale of the Mera Maati Mera Desh campaign. Now, soil from across 36 union territories and the states have been collected and got over here at the Kartavya Path. At least 766 districts have been touched upon. To give you a sense what will happen when the Prime Minister comes, as you see, that there is a huge kalash that is placed at the center stage, and there is a small kalash that is simultaneously there. And Prime Minister will actually which was actually going to be used to create the Amrit Vatika. This is to actually pay tribute to the martyrs of the country. And as we talk, Gaurav, the Prime Minister has arrived at the Kartavya Path. Union Home Minister Amit Shah, Anurag Thakur, other leaders, they are welcoming the Prime Minister to the centre stage. He will first be actually putting the soil from the small kalash, and then he will address the people, the gathering at Kartavya Path. Simultaneously, he will also launch the Mera Yuva Bharat portal.
These images of Prime Minister Narendra Modi as he arrives at Kartavya Path for Meri Maati, Mera Desh Abhiyan. And look at these images on your television screen. Lakshadweep, Chhattisgarh, Almora, Bhubaneswar, Kolkata, Ranchi, from across the length and breadth of our country, from Ladakh to Lakshadweep, from Arunachal Pradesh to Gujarat, soil from across the length and breadth of our country collected for this Amrit Kalash. And these images, that entire effort is being shown to Prime Minister Narendra Modi and being explained to him. Union Home Minister Amit Shah and the Information and Broadcasting Minister with him, Anurag Thakur with him. Now, this was an effort where more than 6 lakh villages, towns, blocks, they were brought in together for this effort. And what's the importance of soil? Haldi Ghati in Rajasthan, for example. Now, the soil from Haldi Ghati inspires you. It's the valor of Maharana Pratap, Udham Singh, the soil from Jallianwala Bagh. One of India's freedom fighters who killed General Dyer, he collected the soil from Jallianwala Bagh and took the pledge that he will kill those who were involved and gave the order for the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. He took a pledge in front of that soil and kept it for 21 long years. It was finally on the 13th of March in 1940 that he finally succeeded in neutralizing Dyer. What we're also being told is that 7,297 blocks from the length and breadth of our country came together. 500 municipalities, 75,000 people expected. This, according to the government, takes the Har Ghar Tiranga pledge altogether to a new level. Images that you see from across the length and breadth of our country, where people collected soil from their respective areas, from Ladakh, from Lakshadweep, from Arunachal Pradesh, from Gujarat, from the land of the brave, from Haldi Ghati, from Rajasthan, from Punjab, from Uttar Pradesh, from Uttarakhand, from Bihar. Every nook and cranny of our country has brave sons and daughters of India who fought against foreign oppression, who fought against foreign rule, and we've remained independent. Now, the Prime Minister will lead the nation in taking a pledge. In fact, 5 Pran, as he put it from the ramparts of the Red Fort, to make India a developed nation by 2047. That's 100 years of India's independence. So this is an effort to unite the country in one bond, try the country in one single strand. Let's listen in to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. You know, this event is also a tribute to the Iron Man of India, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Earlier today, Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid his respects at the Statue of Unity at Kevadia in Gujarat, where he spoke of the goals and the pledge we need to take as a nation. This is Azadi Ka Amrit Kal, and now from the 75th year of India's independence to the 100th year in 2047, what should be the roadmap? Listen into Prime Minister Narendra Modi's roadmap.
मैं सभी देशवासियों को राष्ट्रीय एकता दिवस की अनेक अनेक शुभकामनाएं देता हूं। मेरे परिवारजनों, आने वाले 25 साल भारत के लिए इस शताब्दी के सबसे महत्वपूर्ण 25 साल है। इन 25 वर्षों में हमें अपने इस भारत को समृद्ध बनाना है, हमारे भारत को विकसित बनाना है। आजादी के पहले 25 साल का एक ऐसा कालखंड आया था पिछली शताब्दी में, जिसमें हर देशवासी ने स्वतंत्र भारत के लिए खुद को खपा दिया था। अगले 25 वर्ष का अमृतकाल हमारे सामने आया है, अवसर बन के आया है। हमें सरदार पटेल की प्रेरणा से हर लक्ष्य को हासिल करना है। पिछले 9 साल में देश जिन नीतियों और निर्णयों के साथ आगे बढ़ा है, उसका प्रभाव भी आज जीवन के हर क्षेत्र में देख रहे हैं। भारत में गरीबी कम हो रही है। 5 वर्ष में 13.5 करोड़ से ज्यादा लोग गरीबी से बाहर आए हैं। हमें विश्वास मिला है कि हम देश से गरीबी को खत्म कर सकते हैं। असंभव कुछ भी नहीं होता है। किसने सोचा था कि कभी कश्मीर आर्टिकल 370 से मुक्त भी हो सकता है। लेकिन आज कश्मीर और देश के बीच आर्टिकल 370 की वो दीवार गिर चुकी है। सरदार साहब जहां भी होंगे सबसे ज्यादा प्रसन्नता अनुभव करते होंगे और हम सबको आशीर्वाद देते होंगे। आज कश्मीर के मेरे भाई बहन आतंकवाद के साए से बाहर आकर खुली हवा में सांस ले रहे हैं।
I want to bring in my colleague Shreya once again. Shreya, that's a huge point being made by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on National Integration Day when he says the removal, the abrogation of Article 370 or the defanging of Article 370 perhaps fulfills the Sardar's dreams of Ek Bharat, Shresth Bharat that the Prime Minister says he's taking forward.
जो देश पे मिट जाते हैं वो फिर कभी ना मिटते हैं, किस्सों किताबों में सदा ही वीर वो कह।
Okay, and these are images that are coming from the Kartavya Path stage. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on the dais. Let's for a moment cut across and listen in.
करने के लिए सामने भारत कलश मंच पर उनसे निवेदन है कि वो पधारें और इस देश का नेतृत्व हम सबको प्रेरणा के रूप में अपने कर कमलों से इस माटी को उसमें अर्पित करें। देश की माटी को इस भारत कलश में देवियों सज्जनों और नमन भी करें माननीय प्रधानमंत्री महोदय और सभी जो मंच पर विराजमान विभूतियां हैं वे सभी इस अवसर पर और हम सब अपने स्थान पर खड़े होकर शांत भाव से इस भारत की माटी का ध्यान करते हुए हम सब अपने इस माटी को नमन करेंगे अपने अपने स्थान पर, क्योंकि भारत के देश के कोने कोने से, घर घर से, गांव गांव से, खंड से, कस्बों से, शहरों से ये माटी आई है और अब ये भारत कलश में स्वयं प्रधानमंत्री महोदय अपने कर कमलों से माटी अर्पित करेंगे देश की और नमन करेंगे भारत कलश को, भारत की माटी को।
किताब भी सदा है वीर वो कहलाते हैं। उनके 75 साल पूरे होने के अवसर पर
बहुत बहुत आभार माननीय प्रधानमंत्री महोदय का। देव सज्जनों, ये भारत कलश 8,500 अमृत कलश देश भर से आए और सभी अपने सिर पर बड़े गर्व के साथ अपने प्रदेश की माटी लेकर आए और यही माटी इस भारत कलश में है। जब ये घूमेगी सारी मिट्टी एक साथ मिलेगी और इसी भारत की मिट्टी से एक भारत श्रेष्ठ भारत का संकल्प साकार होगा अमृत वाटिका के रूप में, जो इस समय आपके सामने दृश्य है। जो भारत कलश, विशाल कलश अपने स्थान पर एक चक्र की तरह घूम रहा है। भारत की माटी मिल रही है आपस में और साकार हो रहा है एक भारत श्रेष्ठ भारत का संकल्प। आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव के समापन अवसर पर मेरी माटी मेरा देश के इस राष्ट्रीय आयोजन में हार्दिक स्वागत, अभिनंदन। एक बार आप सबके करतल ध्वनि के साथ देश के यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री माननीय श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी का देवियों सज्जनों। देश की स्वतंत्रता के 75 वर्षों के उपलक्ष्य में आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव के माध्यम से देश के गौरवशाली इतिहास, इसकी स्वतंत्रता और स्वाभिमान की रक्षा करने के लिए अपने प्राणों की आहुति देने वाले वीरों वीरांगनाओं को याद करते हुए आज हम सब देश की माटी को नमन कर रहे हैं, संकल्पित भी हो रहे हैं नए भारत, विकसित भारत के निर्माण के लिए। देवियों सज्जनों, माननीय प्रधानमंत्री महोदय के इस प्रेरक और अद्भुत चिंतन के साथ देश के लोगों को, विशेषकर युवाओं को जोड़ने का एक व्यापक अभियान है ये, जो अमृत काल में हम सबके लिए प्रेरणा बनेगा। इस सोच के प्रणेता माननीय प्रधानमंत्री महोदय का वंदन, अभिनंदन इस अवसर पर।
मंच पर आसीन श्री अमित शाह, भारत सरकार के माननीय गृह एवं सहकारिता मंत्री, श्री जी किशन रेड्डी, भारत सरकार के माननीय संस्कृति, पर्यटन एवं डोनर मंत्री, श्री अनुराग सिंह ठाकुर, भारत सरकार के खेल एवं युवा मामले और सूचना एवं प्रसारण मंत्री, श्री अर्जुन राम मेघवाल, भारत सरकार के विधि एवं न्याय राज्य मंत्री, स्वतंत्र प्रभार एवं संस्कृति राज्य मंत्री, श्रीमती मीनाक्षी लेखी, केंद्रीय राज्य मंत्री, संस्कृति मंत्रालय, विदेश मंत्रालय, श्री निशित प्रमाणिक, केंद्रीय राज्य मंत्री, गृह मंत्रालय, युवा एवं खेल मंत्रालय, आप सभी का भी हम हार्दिक स्वागत व अभिनंदन करते हैं।
सामने दर्शक दीर्घा में विराजमान भारत सरकार के माननीय मंत्रीगण, सांसदगण, विधायकगण, केंद्र और राज्य सरकारों के वरिष्ठ अधिकारीगण और देश भर से अमृत कलश लेकर पहुंचे सभी प्रतिनिधियों का हार्दिक स्वागत, अभिनंदन है। निवेदन केंद्रीय संस्कृति, पर्यटन और डोनर मंत्री श्री जी किशन रेड्डी जी से कि वे इस अवसर पर माननीय प्रधानमंत्री महोदय का और आप सबका स्वागत करने के लिए पधारें, स्वागत संबोधन के साथ।
भारत माता की, भारत माता की, भारत माता की। दुनिया के सबसे लोकप्रिय नेता, देश के करोड़ों युवाओं के धड़कन, परम आदरणीय भारत का प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी, केंद्रीय गृह मंत्री माननीय अमित शाह जी, केंद्र मंत्रिमंडल के सदस्य श्री अनुराग ठाकुर जी, अर्जुन राम मेघवाल जी, श्री मीनाक्षी लेखी जी, इस आजाद का अमृत महोत्सव समापन के महान कार्यक्रम में उपस्थित सभी महानुभाव, देश के कोने कोने से मिट्टी लेकर देश के राजधानी दिल्ली को आए हुए भारत के भविष्य सभी युवा साथी, आज सबसे पहले भारत की एकता और अखंडता के सूत्रधार, महान नेता, आयरन मैन ऑफ इंडिया श्री सरदार वल्लभ भाई पटेल जी का जयंती पर उनके चरणों में नमन करता हूं। मैं आज आजाद की अमृत महोत्सव के भव्य समापन के शुभ अवसर पर भारत सरकार की ओर से आप सबका हृदय से स्वागत करता हूं। मैं इस मंच से देश भर से आए हुए इस पावन पवित्र मिट्टी को वंदन करता हूं। साथ ही मेरा माटी मेरे देश अभियान कार्यक्रम का हिस्सा बने देश के करोड़ों करोड़ों लोगों का भी हृदय से धन्यवाद करता हूं, जिनके सफल प्रयासों से आज यह कार्यक्रम संपन्न हो रहा है। आज प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के गरिमामयी उपस्थिति में 7,000 ब्लॉकों से 500 म्युनिसिपैलिटी से और सभी म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन से लगभग 8,500 से अधिक अमृत कलशों के साथ यहां कर्तव्य पथ पर मौजूद हुए सभी युवा बहनों को मैं धन्यवाद देता हूं। इस अभियान में भारत के लगभग 6 लाख गांवों से और करोड़ों घरों से अमृत कलश में मिट्टी या चावल का संग्रह किया गया। हमें गर्व है कि अमृत महोत्सव के अंतर्गत
So that's the Minister G. Kishan Reddy talking about the effort that went into Meri Maati, Mera Desh. We'll take a quick break back when Prime Minister Narendra Modi speaks. Stay with us here on this India Today special broadcast on Meri Maati, Mera Desh.
From the heat and dust, he's seen India's blood and sweat.
Nu has been simmering with communal tension.
Shaped by a nation in motion, firsthand.
This alliance hasn't still worked out how they intend over the next 10 months to work together.
And that's why, when he hits the field to report India's politics and polls,
You've always done what the Gandhis have wanted you to do.
India's finest reporter and the ultimate newsman, Rajdeep Sardesai. Only on India Today TV.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
It's still grey, smoky. Israeli airstrikes destroyed a Gaza-based reporter's home and community, injured his relatives, and impeded medical treatment due to the destruction of local hospitals. Anas al-Najjar had his house in the southern Gaza Strip city Khan Yunis, which accommodates 17 people of his family members and relatives. His house is in a community of about 50,000 people. In the early hours of October 21st, Al-Najjar's community was hit by an Israeli airstrike, killing a number of residents. His house was almost leveled in ruins. and his grandfather and sister and several other relatives were injured. As the local medical facilities were also destroyed, the injured individuals could get only simple treatment, and the homeless Al-Najars have to seek shelter at their relatives' house.
Now I am in my home, which is no longer habitable. Our home was bombed without any warning in advance, and many are killed, including my neighbors. Air attacks like this cost us dearly.
The Israeli airstrikes have also posed a severe threat to local medical facilities. On Monday, areas near the Al-Shifa hospital, the largest medical institution in the Gaza Strip, and areas near the Al-Quds hospital in the west of Gaza were hit by fierce Israeli airstrikes. One of the attacked areas was merely 100 meters away from the hospital.
يعني منذ أيام والاحتلال يهدد جميع مستشفيات مدينة غزة وشمال قطاع غزة بالإخلاء فهذا ضرب من الخيال سنبقى مع
Life in Gaza continues to be a living hell. Bureau Report, India Today.
Let me once again take you back to Kartavya Path, where the Prime Minister will lead the nation in taking a pledge. In fact, 5 pran of 5 pledges, as the Prime Minister put it, for a developed India by 2047, the 100th year of India's independence. And these 5 pledges that the Prime Minister spoke of from the ramparts of the Red Fort on Independence Day take a big resolve. No servile attitude towards foreign powers. Be proud of your nation, culture and rich heritage. Remain united as Indians and show commitment to work for a developed India by 2047. Let's quickly cut across and listen in.
विकासता के माध्यम से कश्मीर घर घर पहुंचा। काशी उत्सव जैसे साहित्यिक सम्मेलन भी किए और प्राचीन भारतीय ज्ञान गंगा की धारा भी बहने लगी। इसी कड़ी में किला और कहानियां और वंडर केव्स अभियानों ने भारत के सांस्कृतिक गौरव का परचम लहराया। देश में हर घर ध्यान लगाया गया। हमारे गांव हमारी धरोहर बने। अमृत कलश यात्रा जैसे सफल आयोजन के साथ मेरी माटी मेरा देश की महान सोच सबके हृदय में घर कर गई। देश की युवा शक्ति ने भी बढ़े चलो का संदेश अपनाते हुए इस महापर्व में असीम उत्साह दिखाया। आजादी के इस अमृत महोत्सव ने सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास, सबका प्रयास को मूल मंत्र की तरह साधा। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी की प्रेरणा से हर भारतवासी ने किया पंच प्राण निभाने का वादा। आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव व पंच प्राण की गूंज 140 करोड़ भारतीयों के हृदय में गूंजती रहे। इससे सुर मिलाकर सभी धड़कन यही कहे, जय हे, जय हे, जय हे।
देवियों सज्जनों, देश की माटी का गौरव बनाए रखने का संकल्प माननीय प्रधानमंत्री महोदय ने देश को और देश के युवाओं को दिया है। साथ ही इस धरती को बचाने, प्राकृतिक संसाधनों के संरक्षण और जलवायु परिवर्तन की चुनौती से निपटने की राह भी पूरी दुनिया को माननीय प्रधानमंत्री महोदय ने ही दिखाई है मिशन लाइफ के रूप में। प्रधानमंत्री महोदय के मिशन लाइफ विजन की प्रशंसा दुनिया के तमाम देशों ने की है और इस मिशन लाइफ को आज की सबसे बड़ी जरूरत भी माना है। इस मिशन लाइफ से ही प्रेरित होकर राष्ट्रीय नाट्य विद्यालय रंगमंडल नई दिल्ली ने एक लघु नाटिका तैयार की है, बहुत ही सुंदर, बहुत प्रेरक है और इसका शीर्षक है धरती कहे पुकार के। आइए धरती की इस पुकार को ध्यान से सुने और इसके संदेशों को आचार व्यवहार में अपनाएं, आत्मसात करें। सांस्कृतिक मंच पर यह प्रस्तुति आरंभ होने जा रही है, धरती कहे पुकार के।
कृषि अधिकारी साहब, ये हमें कहाँ जंगल में ले आए?
क्यों भाई, तुमको ये जंगल बुरा लग रहा है? यहाँ इतनी हरियाली है, सब कुछ कितना सुंदर है। तो क्या हमारे गांव में हरियाली नहीं है? ठीक है, हमारे यहाँ थोड़ा कम हरा भरा है और यहाँ थोड़ा ज्यादा हरा भरा है। सुनो, हमारे यहाँ की मिट्टी और यहाँ की मिट्टी में बहुत फर्क है। वो कैसे?
बाबूजी, बाबूजी,
बाबूजी, बाबूजी,
बाबूजी, भैया मेरा चिप्स खा गया।
नहीं बाबूजी, आधा मैंने खाया, आधा इसने खाया।
नहीं, इसने खा लिया।
बाबूजी ये झूठ बोल रही है।
नहीं,
इसने आधा खाया था। तू सच बोल दे बाबूजी, मैं बाबूजी को बोल दूंगा।
तुमने खाया।
क्यों खेत सिंह, मना किया था, हर जगह बच्चों को लेकर मत चलो, जब देखो चपर चपर। चुप कराओ इनको।
क्या करें भाई, इनकी माँ नहीं है ना। लड़ो मत, वहां जाके खेलो, जाओ। अधिकारी साहब, ये बताइए हमारी हरियाली और यहाँ की हरियाली में क्या फर्क है? अरे बहुत फर्क है। तुमने मिट्टी में रासायनिक खादों को डालकर मिट्टी को खराब कर दिया है, जहर बना डाला है मिट्टी को, और अब जहर ही खा रहे हैं हम लोग। इसीलिए हमारी सोच भी जहरीली हो गई है। भले ही हम ऊपर से चमकते हों, लेकिन अंदर से खोखले हैं।
तो क्या साहब, यहाँ की मिट्टी अमृत और हमारी मिट्टी जहर है?
ठीक कहा तुमने। यहाँ की मिट्टी में अमृत इसीलिए है क्योंकि पारंपरिक और प्राकृतिक ढंग से खेती की जाती है। मिट्टी में जैविक खाद ही डाला जाता है और हम डालते हैं पेस्टिसाइड्स और रसायन। जमीन के नीचे पानी तक को तो हमने जहरीला कर दिया है। धरती माता के एक अंग को जैसे लहूलुहान कर दिया है। हम कैसे मान लें? दोनों मिट्टी है हमारे पास, कहो तो जांच करके दिखाऊं।
जंगल में गीत संगीत,
चलो भाई देखा जाए, थोड़ा मनोरंजन हो जाए।
चलो चलो भाई, चलो 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 चलो।
And Union Minister Piyush Goyal has spoken out on the Snoopgate 2.0. Union Minister has called Apple's alert a malfunction. He said the prima facie, the information is this alert looks like a malfunction. It's been across 150 states. He says others known to me have also received this alert and not just opposition leaders in India. He says this threat was issued by Apple and on iPhones across 150 nations and not just restricted to India or opposition leaders in India. My colleague Aishwarya spoke to him. Let's listen in.
While the opposition now is asking a lot of questions, there is a statement which has come from Apple and the BJP very clearly saying that there is no kind of spying that's taking place. Piyush Goyal ji, we are now seeing that there is a clarification which has come from Apple saying that there have been people in 150 countries who have got this alert of sorts. The opposition on the other side is saying, they are alleging that there is some kind of spying taking place from the central government and the Bharatiya Janata Party side.
Well, I think it may be interesting to check up whether somebody in the opposition is responsible for this whole charade in the first place. I think Apple has very clearly said this seems to have happened in a lot of countries. I'm told many people who are unrelated to public life has also been receiving these kind of messages. It's quite ridiculous. The entire message, I read what the message was all about. Some people who received this message went to the Apple ID that is quoted on that so-called message, and it is said that if you go on to appleid.apple.com, you'll find on top of it this warning. But well, nothing of that sort is found when you go on appleid.apple.com. So I clearly think it looks to be either a malfunction on Apple or some prank somebody is playing. It's complete nonsense that the opposition leaders are trying to propagate. It'll be very interesting to get to the root of the matter. I believe the Honourable Minister has already clarified the statement, has given out the details, and has asked Apple to join the investigation. Doodh ka doodh, pani ka pani ho jayega.
So I quickly want to cut across to India Today's Polami Saha, tracking this development very closely. Polami, you heard all the opposition leaders who came out all guns blazing in the morning. You saw what Apple responded. You've heard Piyush Goyal, but the government apparently is also having an inquiry conducted. Ashwini Vaishnav indicated that. Give us details of what this government inquiry would be like.
Well, the government, of course, has confirmed that Minister for Information and Technology, Ashwini Vaishnav, has confirmed that there will be an inquiry, and it has been ordered already. What the nature of that inquiry will be and how the government is going to go about that is has not been specified. He's not given a specific timeline either, but he said that this will be conducted as soon as possible and in the fastest manner possible, because he said this is a technical issue. All they have to do is go back into the trail, use certain in order to find out exactly what happened and how did in fact these members of the opposition receive these threat notifications. So the government has said that they've taken very seriously all of these threat notifications that have been received by members of public representatives, those who are in public life, and they are investigating it thoroughly, though of course countering the opposition, imputing motive to the government, saying it was the government that was behind these attacks. The opposition, of course, saying that Apple's threat notification clearly states state-sponsored attackers. Yes. Who else could it possibly be? But they've obviously raised this matter with the Home Minister, with the Prime Minister, with the IT Minister, and Moa Moitra even goes on to say that she's going to raise it with Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla as well, because this is a matter of breach of a privilege, and for that, the Privilege Committee should take this up. It should summon Home Ministry officials and ask them what's going on.
Stay with me for a moment. Let's listen in to Union Minister Piyush Goyal once again on government's clarification. I'll also get you what Ashwini Vaishnav said. And is the opposition satisfied with this? We'll get back to Polami on this. But let's listen in to Piyush Goyal.
While the opposition now is asking a lot of questions, there is a statement which has come from Apple and the BJP very clearly saying that there is no kind of spying that's taking place. Piyush Goyal ji, we are now seeing that there is a clarification which has come from Apple saying that there have been people in 150 countries who have got this alert of sorts. The opposition on the other side is saying, they are alleging that there is some kind of spying taking place from the central government and the Bharatiya Janata Party side.
Well, I think it may be interesting to check up whether somebody in the opposition is responsible for this whole charade in the first place. I think Apple has very clearly said this seems to have happened in a lot of countries. I'm told many people who are unrelated to public life has also been receiving these kind of messages. It's quite ridiculous. The entire message, I read what the message was all about. Some people who received this message went to the Apple ID that is quoted on that so-called message, and it is said that on that if you go on to appleid.apple.com, you'll find on top of it this warning. But, well, nothing of that sort is found when you go on appleid.apple.com. So I clearly think it looks to be either a malfunction on Apple or some prank somebody is playing. It's complete nonsense that the opposition leaders are trying to propagate. It'll be very interesting to get to the root of the matter. I believe the Honourable Minister has already clarified the statement, has given out the details, and has asked Apple to join the investigation. Doodh ka doodh, pani ka pani ho jayega.
Polami, you've been speaking to opposition leaders after Apple's clarification and Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav saying they will look into this matter. They'll ask Apple to join in the probe. Is the opposition satisfied, or does it still believe state agencies mean that it's the Narendra Modi government that ordered this done?
Well, two parts to that, of course. One part is about Apple's statement. Are they satisfied with that? What they are saying is that Apple's statement, which is quite a vague statement, in fact, just confirms what they've said. Because Apple has not denied it, that they did not send out these threat notifications. It only says that it cannot specify where this threat originated. And also, as per their own protocol, they don't want to get into the cause of issuance of these threat notifications, because then it would alert cyber criminals in general as to how Apple detects these threat attempts, these breach attempts. And then, of course, they will evolve for the future so that they are not detectable by Apple's system. So for those reasons, Apple cannot go into the details, but Apple doesn't deny sending out these threat notifications. Of course, it says that it sent out these threat notifications to 100 different countries, users in 100 different countries. So that has been the opposition's position. As far as the central government announcing an investigation is concerned, of course, the opposition has to accept that, because they reached out to the government. They said, they've written to the Prime Minister, they've written to the Home Minister, they've written to the IT Minister. The minister concerned, the nodal ministry concerned, has taken up this issue and has said that it will be investigating it. It has ordered an inquiry. So now, of course, the opposition will have to sit back and wait for that inquiry report. Though, of course, they're not buying arguments like it was an algorithm malfunction for the moment, because then they're asking, how is it that a malfunction targets only opposition MPs for that matter? And that to them is suspicious in nature.
Fair enough. Keep tracking that story. I will come back to you for more. But as Piyush Goyal said, that there are many who are unconnected with either the government or with public life, and they too have received such a notice from Apple. But politics over this alleged Snoopgate against several opposition leaders, it continues to escalate, discarding allegations leveled against the government. Union IT Minister Ashwini Vaishnav said that a similar notification was sent out across not one, not two, but 150 countries. He said that Apple has an encrypted and secure system. He lashed out at those who desperately find a reason to criticize, what he termed was a desperate reason to criticize the government. He then went on to suggest that opposition leaders must file an FIR and take up the issue with the service provider, Apple. This development comes after several opposition leaders, including Trinamool Congress Member of Parliament Mahua Moitra, Shiv Sena's Uddhav Thackeray faction MP Priyanka Chaturvedi, and Congress leader Pawan Khera and Shashi Tharoor said they'd received messages from Apple on their phones and emails warning that state-sponsored attackers may be targeting their iPhones. Following this claim, Congress leader Rahul Gandhi slammed the centre and said he was ready to submit his phone for investigation. Apple issued a clarification saying some alerts may be false, adding they cannot provide any specific reason for such alerts.
There are many compulsive critics in our country. Their only job is to criticize the government as and when they wake up, as and when they find an opportunity. You must have all seen the advisory issued by Apple. This is a vague advisory. It is based on certain estimations that they have done. Apple has already clarified that their system is, their encryption system is of highest possible order. They've also clarified and issued a statement saying that this kind of advisory has been issued in 150 countries. Friends, these compulsive critics, they have only one habit. Whenever they don't have any major issue, the only thing they'll say is surveillance.
तो ये आपको झूठे भविष्य की का वायदा करते हैं और जो आपका धन है आपके आंखों के सामने आपसे छीन के ले जा रहे हैं. यह हिंदुस्तान की आज सच्चाई है. कम लोग हैं जो इसके खिलाफ लड़ रहे हैं, मगर हम डरने वाले नहीं हैं, हम लड़ने वाले लोग हैं. हम पीछे नहीं हटेंगे. जितनी टैपिंग करनी है कर लो, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. मुझे तो कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. अगर आपको मेरा फोन चाहिए मैं दे देता हूं, आपको उठा के ले लो.
एप्पल को प्रोटेस्ट क्यों नहीं करते? एप्पल से बात करें, व्हाट इज दिस मैटर? लेकिन जहां तक मैं अपने अनुभव से कह सकता हूं, कोई भी टेलीफोन कंपनी ऐसा नहीं कहती है. बात समझ गए आप? अगर ऐसा कुछ होता है तो सबसे पहले वो खुद सर्टिन के पास आती है, जो क्विक रिस्पांस टीम है. वहां वो बताती है कि ये कुछ है, इसको देखिए, और उसके बाद होता है. तो यहां तो कमाल है, उन्हीं को मिला और प्रेस में गए. हिम्मत है तो चले जाए, एफआईआर कर दें.
I have been holding the government to account. I'm asking some questions from my government with regards to the Adani corruption or with regards to the Pegasus issue or various other issues that impact the daily lives of our citizens. And it is a well-known fact, it's a well-recorded fact, and it went up to the Supreme Court, the issue of Pegasus, how journalists were being targeted, and it has been, part of investigative stories. This is happening. So it is for them to tell me whether, they will allow me to discharge my duties as a parliamentarian, as a member of the opposition, or they would want to silence every single voice which speaks up against the government. So this is for them, but it is pretty clear that as a vocal opponent, the attack is directed at us, and going by the numbers, sheer numbers of people who are coming forward to say this from the opposition shows this is an attempt at mass surveillance.
Government of India is very clear that freedom of expression, privacy, and all civil liberties must be respected and also protected. That's why those people who are doing illegal acts, working against the interests of the country, they will be complaining about all this thing. We are very clear, we are not like Congress party and other people who will do illegal acts. We follow the rules.
We will continue to track this story very closely, but that is all I have time for on 5 Live this evening. Many thanks for watching. Akshita Nandagopal comes up next with 6 p.m. Prime. Gets you that top story. Prime Minister Narendra Modi participates in the Amrit Kalash Yatra, marking the culmination of Meri, Maati, Mera Desh campaign at Kartavya Path. Details coming up.
I have been holding the government to account. I'm asking some questions from my government with regards to the Adani corruption or with regards to the Pegasus issue or various other issues that impact the daily lives of our citizens. And it is a well-known fact, it's a well-recorded fact, and it went up to the Supreme Court, the issue of Pegasus, how journalists were being targeted, and it has been, part of investigative stories. This is happening. So it is for them to tell me whether, they will allow me to discharge my duties as a parliamentarian, as a member of the opposition, or they would want to silence every single voice which speaks up against the government. So this is for them, but it is pretty clear that as a vocal opponent, the attack is directed at us, and going by the numbers, sheer numbers of people who are coming forward to say this from the opposition shows this is an attempt at mass surveillance.
बड़े दुख की बात है कि सुबह ये जानकारी मिली और इस तरह का मैसेज कंपनी के माध्यम से मोबाइल पर पहुंचा है, और ये जो मैसेज बता रहा है कि आपका स्टेट एजेंसी या स्टेट की तरफ से हैक किया जा रहा है या जासूसी की जा रही है। तो बड़े दुख की बात है आज हमारे डेमोक्रेसी में, लोकतंत्र में आज़ादी और आपकी प्राइवेसी को भी ये किस लिए उसको खत्म करना चाहते हैं। आखिरकार जासूसी किस लिए? और इस सीमा तक कि जो पार्टी के बड़े नेता हैं, पार्टियों के बड़े नेता हैं, उनके मोबाइल सर्वेलेंस में ले लिए जाए, उनकी जानकारी हो जाए।
डिजिटल दुनिया बना रहे हैं और इन्वेसिव पॉलिटिक्स के तहत क्या देखना चाहते हैं कौन किससे बात कर रहा, क्या बात कर रहा। पूरा का पूरा नॉर्थ कोरिया बनने जा रहा है क्या? सीधी सी बात है। सरकार की ओर से अभी तक कुछ सुना ही नहीं मैंने। उनकी ओर से सफाई आनी चाहिए ना। इसका एक मंत्रालय भी है, वो क्या कर रहा है?
As the relentless Israeli bombing continues. The humanitarian crisis has reached an unprecedented level in the Gaza Strip. Buildings are being reduced to rubble, trapping dozens. This as people continue to struggle for basic essential items like food, clean water and life-saving medicines. Over 9,000 Palestinians have lost their lives and thousands are injured. Gaza citizens say they face a grave threat to their lives, adding that it was the women and the children who are being killed. Israel has asked Gaza citizens to leave their homes and to move to the south of the Gaza Strip. The IDF has said Hamas is using hospitals and schools to store weapons to attack Israel. Israel says it was trying to keep civilian deaths as low as possible amid the ongoing war. But it accuses Hamas of stalling civilian evacuation to use them as human shields. The Gaza Strip has been under the Israeli strike since the 7th October deadly terror attack by Hamas killed nearly 1,400 Israelis. The innocent Gaza citizens are now paying a price of the war which they never started. With Shiva Road near the Gaza border, Bureau Report, India Today.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
Non-stop airstrikes.
Hear explosions right now. You can hear explosions. There are rockets landing nearby.
Tanks roar.
That was an airstrike. You can hear an airstrike in the distance, probably somewhere near Gaza City.
Israel's big Gaza offensive begins. India Today's Shivarur is in the war zone.
That's been a huge priority for the country. Okay, so like I said, I mean, just to prove my point, there's this constant bombardment punctuating pretty much everything that we're seeing and hearing.
Covering all fronts, factual, not fictional.
West Bank has come under attack during this cycle of violence. There have been airstrikes in Jenin, where I'd been reporting from.
Reporting, not drama.
Information coming in from Gaza, which has been completely shut out, with the internet and communications being completely knocked out. Okay, there's been a rocket intercept.
Follow India's top conflict reporter on the front line only on India Today.
The bold look of Kohler. Titan Eye Plus, expert who cares. Dulux Velvet Touch feels like home.
Good evening. You're watching 6 p.m. Prime here on India Today. I'm Akshita Nandagopal. We're cutting straight across to the national capital, to the Kartavya Path, where the Prime Minister is currently there in the culmination of the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. You've got these images coming in now of the massive crowds that have gathered, nearly 50,000 people who are there for the Meri Maati Mera Desh campaign. Just moments ago, you had the Prime Minister also rendering an oath to youngsters who've now taken a part of an initiative called Mera Yuva Bharat or My Bharat. But the highlight perhaps of all of the celebrations that you're seeing today is the Meri Maati Mera Desh. What does that mean? What we're seeing is in fact a massive pot that's been kept at Kartavya Path, and there you have those images on the right of your screens filled with the mitti, the mud, from the residences of fallen soldiers. And Prime Minister Modi earlier today, to also highlight the significance of that moment, also brought about and put an earthen pot full of mud into that particular area. Was seen also taking some mitti in his hand, putting it on his forehead in a very, very symbolic move about how much really he respects and hails all of our soldiers who fought so bravely and put their lives down for the nation. On the left of your screens are the live images right now. The Prime Minister has officially inaugurated the Mera Yuva Bharat initiative, which is in fact to focus on youngsters of the country, even rendering an oath to all of them.
भारत का संकल्प हमारे युवाओं को देने के लिए और इस पोर्टल के शुभारंभ के लिए दिव्य सज्जनों, आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव के दौरान देश में जन भागीदारी की एक नई सोच, एक नई संस्कृति को हमने आकार लेते देखा है। साथ ही भारत सरकार के विभिन्न मंत्रालयों और विभागों तथा सभी राज्यों और केंद्र शासित क्षेत्रों ने भी इस महोत्सव में बढ़ चढ़कर हिस्सा लिया है। इनमें से दो वर्गों यानी केंद्रीय मंत्रालय और विभाग तथा राज्य और केंद्र शासित क्षेत्र, इनमें से प्रत्येक वर्ग में सर्वश्रेष्ठ प्रदर्शन करने के लिए पहले 3 स्थानों के लिए यहां आज अकम पुरस्कार प्रदान किए जाएंगे। इन अकम अवार्ड्स के लिए उच्च स्तर पर गठित एक समिति, जिसने अलग अलग मानदंडों के आधार पर अकम अवार्ड्स के विजेताओं को चुना है। पुरस्कारों की शुरुआत हम राज्य और केंद्र शासित क्षेत्र के वर्ग से कर रहे हैं।
So as we beam for you these live images, just moments away from the Prime Minister speaking, I have Gaurav Sawant with me as well. Gaurav, a huge significant moment this, an Amrit Kal memorial that we're talking about, Mera Yuva Bharat, which has just been launched, but perhaps the biggest highlight is Meri Maati Mera Desh. What a beautiful tribute really to our fallen soldiers.
It indeed is. In fact, it's an effort to bring the past, present and future and tie them in one bond. That's the Prime Minister's effort. And unite our country in one bond from Ladakh to Lakshadweep and from Arunachal Pradesh to Gujarat. And that is why you have soil from every village, every block, every state coming together in that big Amrit Kalash, and that would be then used for this Amrit Vatika. You're again, it's an environment thing. India is pretty big on environment. You're planting more trees and lakhs of trees, all saplings that have come from different parts of our country and right next to the National War Memorial. So you remember your fallen heroes from the armed forces. You remember your fallen heroes who've made the supreme sacrifice of their lives in counter-terror operations, and also our freedom fighters. You know some of them. The effort is that you know all of them from different parts of our country, because it was one nation that united to fight, centuries of servitude and combating to become a free nation once again.
And you look at this kind of an initiative, the effort that's gone and has been going on for months, where you've had people, family members essentially of these fallen soldiers, and it's a beautiful way to really signify to them as well how much we as a nation appreciate their sacrifice. And they've brought these pots of mud all the way from their hometowns via trains, flights, buses, made it down here to the national capital, and they're right now there. They've emptied their pots, brought that mitti to the national capital. Tell us, Gaurav, now, what's going to happen next? Because we've seen those images, as you called it, of the Amrit Kalash kept there at Kartavya Path. Is that going to remain there now for eternity for people to come and pay their tribute?
So, all this soil from the length and breadth of our country, it comes together and there will be an Amrit Vatika. It's like a garden. A garden right next to the National War Memorial, where trees from across the country, saplings will be planted from across the country, and people can visit that. People should get inspired, because what's the road ahead? You've covered 75 years of of our journey. 1947 is when we became independent. This is 2023. You've already celebrated 77 years of freedom. But how do you make India a developed country by 2047? That's the dream. So the next 25 years, extremely crucial. That is why the pledge that everyone saw. The Prime Minister said, "Panch Pran." From the ramparts of the Red Fort, he spoke of 5 pledges that we need to take as a nation. Every individual, especially the youth, because they are the engine, the youth are the growth engine of our country in the next 25 years. And the Prime Minister's dream is that it's not just, taking India forward. India will actually take the world forward, becoming the 3rd largest economy by 2027 or 29, and then being amongst the top 3 economies of the world. So we aspire to be the growth engine of the world.
So what you saw and what Gaurav is referring to when he says the pledge and oath was just moments ago, when you had the Prime Minister essentially rendering this oath to youngsters. Out of the 50,000 people who are there, many of them are youngsters who have been brought together there to be a part of this event. You're seeing on your screens right now the inauguration of the Amrit Vatika that you were referring to just now, Gaurav. This is going to be right next to the National War Memorial. And let's talk also about those pictures that we saw earlier of the Prime Minister very symbolically putting the Desh ki mitti on his forehead. What an important moment and message that is for the entire country, for our fallen soldiers, for their families.
When we reconnect with our roots, this soil of our nation has a major impact on our psyche. I'll give you 2 small examples. Haldi Ghati, the land where Maharana Pratap fought the forces of Akbar. Haldi Ghati, the soil of Haldi Ghati, inspires warriors from across the length and breadth of our country, because this was a very small army of Maharana Pratap fighting a massive army of Akbar, and yet when you read history, which again is being looked at in a different view, was Akbar able to achieve his aim? And if not, is it victory for Akbar or is it actually victory for Maharana Pratap? So the mitti of Haldi Ghati, major impact. The mitti of Jallianwala Bagh, 1990 was when Brigadier General Dyer ordered the massacre at Jallianwala Bagh. Sardar Udham Singh, he picked up that soil from Jallianwala Bagh and he took a pledge that he will neutralize the man who ordered the massacre of people at Jallianwala Bagh. So what did he do? He kept that soil of Jallianwala Bagh with him for 21 long years. It was finally in 1940 that he was able to eliminate Dyer. So, that is how...
That's the origin of what we're seeing today.
That's right. So that is how this soil inspires. So the Prime Minister put it on his forehead. We used to do that as children. You'd remember when we were playing kabaddi or when playing anything. You pick up that mud, put it on your forehead, and then you take a pledge. So that mitti of your country is something that gives you life, and even after death, it's in a way, as some say, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. So that mitti is your life soul in our country. The Prime Minister is doing that to bind the country in one bond.
Gaurav there beautifully explaining the significance of what we're witnessing right now on our screens. This is right now, ladies and gentlemen, history in the making. We've been seeing and talking for the last 2 years at least about Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, about celebrating the nation's independence. And what better way to do it than to hail our fallen soldiers, than to hail our braves and recognize the utmost sacrifice that they have done for the nation. This is essentially the Prime Minister's brainchild, Gaurav. The government has been working on this for the last many months, and now it culminates in this particular moment. 50,000 people who've gathered there. This is at the Kartavya Path in the national capital. And since yesterday, if I'm not wrong, we've had families lined up, martyrs' families, Gaurav, lining up there, emptying their pots of mud from their homes, essentially, which they filled up, emptying it into that massive kalash that's placed right now at the Kartavya Path.
You're absolutely right. It's a two-day event. Culminates now. Azadi ka Amrit Mahotsav. The soil that's been brought from across the length and breadth of our country, from the homes of our braves. This also actually gives an opportunity for the young generation to know about braves in their respective localities, in their respective areas. Because in India's independence struggle, millions and millions, played a very major role. As some historians say, when we say "Dedi hame azadi bina khadak bina dhal," it wasn't a non-violent movement that got India our independence. And that is why it's very important that you see Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, his statue right there, where at one point of time you had King George V. There was an armed struggle for independence. India's all about our
we'll
warriors.
just cut live now to the Prime Minister, Gaurav.
पिछले 75 साल में जो आवाज इस कर्तव्य पथ न गूंजी हो, उससे भी बड़ी तीव्रता के साथ मेरे साथ बोलिए, भारत माता की, भारत माता की, भारत माता की। केंद्रीय मंत्रिमंडल के मेरे सहयोगी अमित भाई, किशन रेड्डी, अनुराग ठाकुर, अर्जुन राम मेघवाल, मीनाक्षी लेखी, निशित प्रामाणिक, देश भर से यहां पधारे मेरे सभी युवा साथियों और मेरे परिवारजनों, आज लौह पुरुष सरदार वल्लभ भाई पटेल की जयंती पर कर्तव्य पथ एक ऐतिहासिक महायज्ञ का साक्षी बन रहा है। 12 मार्च 2021 दांडी यात्रा वाला दिन था। 12 मार्च 2021 को गांधी जी की प्रेरणा से साबरमती आश्रम से शुरू हुआ आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव अब 31 अक्टूबर 2023 आज सरदार साहब की जयंती पर यहां पर उसका समापन है, समापन की पल है। जैसी दांडी यात्रा शुरू होने के बाद देशवासी उससे जुड़ते गए, वैसे ही आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव ने जन भागीदारी का ऐसा हुजूम देखा कि नया इतिहास बन गया। दांडी यात्रा ने स्वतंत्र भारत की लौ को और तेजस्वी किया था। 75 साल की ये यात्रा समृद्ध भारत के सपने को साकार करने वाला कालखंड बन रहा है। 2 वर्ष से अधिक चले इस महोत्सव का मेरी माटी मेरा देश अभियान के साथ समापन हो रहा है। आज आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव एक याद के लिए स्मारक का शिलान्यास भी हुआ है। ये स्मारक आने वाली पीढ़ियों को हमेशा इस ऐतिहासिक आयोजन की याद दिलाएगी। बेहतरीन आयोजनों के लिए यहां कुछ राज्यों, मंत्रालयों और विभागों को पुरस्कार भी दिए गए हैं। मैं सभी पुरस्कार विजेताओं को भी और उस राज्य के सभी नागरिकों को भी बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं। मेरे परिवारजनों, एक तरफ हम आज एक महा उत्सव को समापन कर रहे हैं, तो साथ ही एक नए संकल्प का शुभारंभ भी कर रहे हैं। आज मेरा युवा भारत संगठन यानी माय भारत की नींव रखी गई है। 21वीं सदी में राष्ट्र निर्माण के लिए मेरा युवा भारत संगठन बहुत बड़ी भूमिका निभाने वाला है। इसके लिए मैं देश के युवाओं को विशेष तौर पर बधाई देता हूं। मेरे परिवारजनों, भारत के युवा कैसे संगठित होकर हर लक्ष्य प्राप्त कर सकते हैं, इसका प्रत्यक्ष उदाहरण मेरी माटी मेरा देश अभियान है। मेरी माटी मेरा देश इस अभियान में गांव-गांव, गली-गली से कोटि-कोटि देश के युवा जुड़े हैं। देश भर में लाखों आयोजन हुए। अनगिनत भारतीयों ने अपने हाथों से अपने आंगन, अपने खेत की मिट्टी अमृत कलश में डाली है। देश भर से 8,500 अमृत कलश आज यहां पहुंचे हैं। इस अभियान के तहत करोड़ों भारतीयों ने पंच प्रण की प्रतिज्ञा ली है। पंच प्राण की प्रतिज्ञा ली है। करोड़ों भारतीयों ने अपनी सेल्फीज को कैंपेन वेबसाइट पर अपलोड भी किया है। साथियों, कई लोगों के मन में ये सवाल उठ सकता है कि आखिर मिट्टी ही क्यों? मिट्टी से भरे कलश ही क्यों? एक कवि ने कहा है, यह वह मिट्टी जिसके रस से जीवन पलता आया, जिसके बल पर आदिम युग से मानव चलता आया। यह तेरी सभ्यता संस्कृति इस पर ही अवलंबित युगों युगों के चरण चिन्ह इसकी छाती पर अंकित। बड़ी बड़ी महान सभ्यताएं समाप्त हो गई, लेकिन भारत की मिट्टी वो चेतना है, भारत की मिट्टी में वो प्राण शक्ति है जिसने इस राष्ट्र को अनादिकाल से आज तक बचा कर रखा है। ये वो माटी है जो देश के कोने कोने से आत्मीयता और अध्यात्म हर प्रकार से हमारी आत्मा को जोड़ती है। इस मिट्टी की सौगंध खाकर हमारे वीरों ने आजादी की लड़ाई लड़ी। कितने ही किस्से इस मिट्टी से जुड़े हुए हैं। इसी माटी में 100 साल पहले एक छोटा सा बच्चा लकड़ियां बो रहा था और जब उसके पिता ने पूछा कि क्या बो रहे हो, तो वो बोला कि बंदूकें बो रहा हूं। पिता ने पूछा कि बंदूकों का क्या करोगे, तो उस बालक ने कहा, अपने देश को आजाद कराऊंगा। उसी बालक ने बड़े होकर बलिदान की वो ऊंचाई हासिल की जिसे आज भी छूना मुश्किल है। वो बालक कोई और नहीं, वीर शहीद भगत सिंह थे। इसी माटी के लिए एक सेनानी ने कहा था, दिल से निकलेगी न मरकर कभी वतन की उल्फत, मेरी मिट्टी से भी खुशबुए वफा आएगी। किसान हो, वीर जवान हो, किसका खून पसीना इसमें नहीं मिला है। इसी माटी के लिए कहा गया है, चंदन है इस देश की माटी, तपोभूमि हर ग्राम है। माटी स्वरूपा इस चंदन को अपने सिर माथे पर लगाने के लिए हम सब लालायित रहते हैं। हमारे मन मस्तिष्क में 24 घंटे यही चला करता है, जो माटी का कर्ज चुका दे, जो माटी का कर्ज चुका दे, वही जिंदगानी है। जो माटी का कर्ज चुका दे, वही जिंदगानी है। इसलिए ये जो अमृत कलश यहां आए हैं, इनके भीतर मिट्टी का हर कण अनमोल है। ये हमारे लिए सुदामा की पोटली में रखे चावलों की तरह हैं। जैसे पोटली के चावल की उस मुट्ठी में एक लोक की संपत्ति समाहित थी, वैसे ही इन हजारों अमृत कलशों में देश के हर परिवार के सपने, आकांक्षाएं, अनगिनत संकल्प है। देश के हर घर आंगन से जो मिट्टी यहां पहुंची है, वो हमें कर्तव्य भाव की याद दिलाती रहेगी। ये मिट्टी हमें विकसित भारत के अपने संकल्प की सिद्धि के लिए और अधिक परिश्रम के लिए प्रेरित करती रहेगी।
Get ready for an immersive journey into the heart of news, politics and insights that matter. Join India Today now on WhatsApp with the #1 election team as we gear up for the upcoming assembly elections. Scan the QR code now.
Join India Today now on WhatsApp. Follow these steps. Open WhatsApp on your phone. Check for a new updates tab. Select Find Channel and type India Today. After finding the channel, tap the Follow button.
It is not just affecting your lungs or causing you breathlessness.
There is enough evidence and more to show that air pollution is actually causing a lot more damage to different organs of our body. Much more damage than we can actually imagine. In fact, there is evidence to now show that air pollution is also affecting the unborn child in the mother's womb. It's also leading to dementia. This report gives a sense of the kind of problems that air pollution is causing in the short run and in the long term.
It is not just your eyes that are watering, or the disgusting stench of smoke in the air. It is not just the breathing difficulties you face at this time of the year. Long-time exposure to air pollution kills you silently, and this has been documented. Delhi NCR's air quality continues to be in the very poor category as the region's average air quality index stayed above 350. And it is not just Delhi. Most Indian cities have air which is not worth breathing. Here is why an air quality index of over 100 should alarm not just you but also wake political decision makers from their slumber. It has gone way beyond worsening asthma and reducing lung capacity. Air pollution has reached the womb. Scientists find pollution is reaching babies in the womb and slashing boys' future sperm counts.
You heard that right. We are harming unborn babies. Man-made pollution is making unborn children very ill even before they've taken their first breath. Doctors for the longest time have believed that air pollution has an impact on fetal health, and this research, amongst many more, just validates those fears. We won't have any of it. That is the word from the government of India on allegations of Meta and Instagram tweaking content to make their platforms addictive. India has said that free pass and immunity to social media platforms are over and strict accountability will be enforced.
Social media app can be used maturely or mindfully only after understanding these consequences. That means that there has to be a capping of age. Young children are more impressionable, and when they are looking at content repeatedly, it forms their opinions, it forms their ideologies, it forms their personality, and they get less and less choice in forming an ideology, because that is the only ideology that they are being exposed to.
This comes in the backdrop of a lawsuit against Meta, which also operates Facebook, by more than 40 US states, saying that Facebook, Instagram features are addictive and target kids. The complaint says Meta has repeatedly misled the public about the substantial dangers of its platforms and knowingly induced young children and teenagers into addictive and compulsive social media use. Research has shown that young people's use of Meta's social media platforms is associated with depression, anxiety, insomnia,
interference with education and daily life, and many other negative outcomes. Meta has been accused of intentionally designing its platforms to manipulate dopamine responses in its young users to maximize time spent on its platforms. In New Delhi, Sneha Mordani for India Today TV.